You good?
Is it working? Sorry, buddy. Anthony was talking a bunch of mess about those pure tears.
There we go. All right. We were going to do the whole show like that and just ignore the chat and see what, and just be like, after the show's over, wave, goodbye.
Yeah, we wanted to do like a silent movie themed Paranormal Live.
Also, once I figured out that there was no sound, I was actually just moving my mouth. People say I don't take life seriously, and they complain about that. They're like, this guy doesn't take life seriously. I take a lot of things seriously. Those are the people that don't pay attention. They don't pay attention. They watch a couple things and they think that they know me and they know all about that. They don't. I'm waiting for the chat to fill up here, guys. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, like we always do. It's going to be good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be good. I hope so. I hope it is. Everybody who did not catch last night, I was on BMR. We only had about 200 people, hovered around 200 people in the chat. And, but, you know, I think that look it up, see how many people actually checked it out, like how many views.
Okay.
From last night, I think we ended up with like, 1,500.
Yeah, but 200 people for a live stream from a, I think he's at 3.6 thousand or something like that subscribers.
Is that what he's at? 3.16, I think.
Oh, but that's like really good.
Yeah. But I wanted to at least have, 250 in there or something, maybe 3. That would have been cool. But
it's 1.4 thousand views.
1.4 thousand. So we're close. We're almost 1,500. So show him some love. Go check out. He's a smaller channel. And go check him out. We got smaller channels that are doing really good work. But one person I ignored, or people I ignored, and I apologize for this, Expanded Perspectives. We didn't name them the other day. They're really good friends of ours.
Yeah, they've been in it for a long time.
Yeah, that's actually felt really bad.
I think we were listening to them back before we even came up with the idea to do a show ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I would listen to them while I was on security.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially Tony.
Yeah, I did it. I remember working a bingo hall during a winter storm and just standing out.
That's all you do is just listen
I remember
to
that bingo hall.
Because you couldn't do anything else. You literally had to just stand there. And
yeah.
And if you lax for a second, then a car got broken into.
Well, and it was crazy, too, because it doesn't matter if the roads are solid ice. People are still going to run out there and try to gamble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like they don't care. They don't care. It's going to be, it is what it is.
Well, they hate having their retirement money, and they just don't like it there, so they just kind of throw it away at bingo and casinos and whatever.
That's funny that you're bringing that up, because I debated about telling this story. I wanted to do one. Here's a weird thing about casinos, folks. I'm gonna give you. I got a person who gave me a story from Oklahoma, okay, about a large casino and them seeing several people. They claim saw what looked like a werewolf. Very weird. Running around behind the casino, and one of the guards says they thought it was a skinwalker. Of course, it's Oklahoma, and it is a Native American casino. But then I got contacted by a few other people. One was in New Mexico, told me a weird story, and it was like, hey, have you ever done anything about haunted casinos? I do not have permission to use their names. The one casino I actually did reach out to, and I talked to somebody, and they're like, we'll get back with you. I mean, we might be able to do that. And then they said they didn't. So I probably, to keep from having problems, I'm probably not going to, because some people might think it's cool, and then other people are going to be scared to death to get out of their vehicle. And so then the casino has a lot of money, and they could sue the crap out of you because you're telling people that there's a werewolf and there's ghosts in their casino. There was a guy who gave me a story. I'll just call him James. That's his name. But he went to a casino up in Colorado. The name of the casino starts with a B. As far as I'll go. Yeah, if there's another casino that starts with a B there, then it starts with an H. I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't want to say anything because, like I said, I want to get in trouble. But he had a horrific night there in one of the rooms. It was a pretty scary story, and I wasn't going to tell it tonight. I was thinking about doing a Tuesday. But we have so many things to talk about on Tuesdays that we're going to throw some stories together. And I got a whole bunch of stories right here, right in front of me. Somebody said, he never has his notes because I said that. I don't have my notes with me. They're right here. I got them. Okay? And it's not like I need them because I have a memory. All right? Some people don't have that. On the board game front, it's done. Yay, it's done. But we are going to have to start a Kickstarter to get that done. I don't know how that works exactly, but if you're interested in investing or donating, either one, let me know. Because we have some things we got to do for that. So Kyle Filson just messaged me back. I just told him that I'd given him a shout out. I forgot, man. I forgot to, yeah. Shout out to Kyle Filson and Cameron Hale, good friends of ours and good friends of the show. They came to the conference, everybody. Now, I have to say a couple things. Like I said, we're waiting for the chat to fill up. We get about 300 and we'll start cracking. But I got some hate. I always do. I mean, it's not like it's new, but I got some hate for what I said last night on BMR. Most of the comments were really good in the comment section. I don't read them, but somebody, they screenshotted it and they said, "Look at this." I was called a blasphemer too in the chat. And I don't want people going after people who say things like that. Let them say what they want. The thing is, they're going to believe the way that they're brought up and the way that they're taught. I had a person recently, they were born and raised in the Appalachians, and they were giving me their stories, whatever, and then after the last 2 times I've been on the air, they told me that no thank you, they're not going to deal with me. And I said, that's fine, it's your prerogative. Whatever, I'm going to tell you this, whatever makes you choo-choo run. That's completely okay with me. Whatever you got to do, man. One of the things I will say, though, right now, in my defense, is that I'm right.
Trust me, I was there.
Whether you want to believe it or not is strictly up to you. You can lead the horse, and then they drink. You know how it goes. Okay, but I got a really snarky message from someone. And she says, "I pray for your mortal soul that you're going to hell." And I told her, "God bless you. May the true God, the Father of Christ, bless you, and may you find the true God." So that's all I can say to that. Yes, I had some people who didn't like what I said. Okay. I guess it's controversial. There's some people that thrive on controversy, but it's just them fighting with everybody. And then there's some people that get controversy, and it actually is just them saying things that are making people think. Okay? I like to believe that, hey, everybody, I'm going to say hi to a bunch of people here. Who do we got? Two Shadows, Cryptidville, what's going on? Scorp, Sugar Britches. Everybody give Sugar Britches a round of applause today for everything that she does. Everybody needs to understand how much this person does and just willingly does what she does. Sugar Britches, is there anything I can do to send you? If you need anything, private message me, and I will get back with you. Blondes and Booze, Jared Creel. Jared was at my conference, nice guy. Anunnaki Bro, another great person there. Jatesh, good guy. Facing the Crowd. Everybody that's always here, people that donate and help with the show. Donations are not expected, but they're greatly appreciated. Up here above me, it says send your stories to Josh Turner at PRTpodcast.com. Josh Turner at PRTpodcast.com. Patreon.com/PRTpodcast. I'm going to tell you a story about a story while we're waiting around to get some people in here. I had a guy reach out to me. This is the kind of stuff that we go through when you're not doing fake AI stories and you have to talk to real people. This is what we go through. And those of you who do what I do, you'll understand. You'll know. But one of the things that really got me, this person was going back and forth with me for 2 weeks. Well, first of all, about a week straight, they were messaging me, and I said, "I will get to you when I can. Just be patient. I got this epic story I got to tell you. You really need to hear." Okay, good, yeah. I said, "Give me a few days." I said that, right, Anthony? Give me a few days.
Yeah.
Not lying. I told the guy. I was very nice about it. I think I was polite. I didn't say anything rude. I said, just be patient. So then a week goes by, right? From the first time they messaged me. They messaged me like two Sundays ago, I believe. The following Sunday, right before the show, which was about 2 weeks ago, I guess, I messaged him back and I said, look, I'm going to get to you. We're going to do this. Give me a day. No answer. 2 more days go by. So it was like a Tuesday, and I was in the chat, literally in the chat on the show, saying hi to everybody. Hey, folks. That's me. I always say, hey, folks. You know it's me because that's how I talk. I say, hey, folks. And like I said, somebody will use the Paranormal Roundtable handle. I believe it was Tony that was using it this past week. Wasn't it, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, me and Anthony kind of switch off on
Well,
it.
Anthony had his own, so it was you.
Yeah.
And sometimes Scorp will take it. I don't know why he does it, but
I think it's just easier for people to recognize
just
my
go
name.
and grab it. You know?
Yeah.
But it's not me. I typically don't use the Paranormal Roundtable because I've gone into a chat and people are like, hey, Josh. I'm like, I just showed up. I didn't even type anything. And then I scroll up and there's Paranormal Roundtable, and I'm like, which one of these knuckleheads is using that? And it's okay because it's only known by the inner circle from, PRT. So it's somebody from PRT. Nellie doesn't typically I don't think she uses it. So
No.
Nellie doesn't use it that much. You two and Scorp and, my brother. So I said, hey, whatever. And so anyways, I'm in the chat and this guy messages me. And I said, yeah, I'm in my chat, whatever. And he's like, you're on a show? And I'm like, no, I have a Tuesday, whatever. And he's like, well, let me know when you're not busy. Like very snarkily. And I said, hey, send me your story. I don't shy away from people trying to send me stories. And this guy goes, you act like you don't want my story. And he's probably mad as hell right now because I'm putting him on blast. But yeah, it was very disgustingly rude what you did and said. Thank you for that donation, Jitesh. I appreciate that.
Every
this
time.
past Friday, we actually
Thanks, Josh.
people showed us some love. I was thinking people didn't love us no more. They're like, they don't like us no more. We're done. There's so many people just on my butt about everything. I'm not perfect, all right? I never said I was. And so I got back in touch with this guy. We'll call him D. It's just the first letter of his name, whatever. I'm not going to say his name because I'm nice. And he says, to hell with you. He goes, these guys that are having a problem with it, there's a reason why they have a problem with it. I'm like, oh, my gosh. I said, man, if you want to give me your stories, give me your stories. He stuck a phone number on there a couple days before that. Tried calling. I tried calling your number. It didn't work. Your number was wrong. Then he goes back and goes, my bad. It was one number off, but I'm good. I said, well, I'm good too. Thank you. I got 100 other stories I can deal with. A couple days go by, middle of the week. He messages me again. This would have been last week, I believe. I think I'm right on my timeline there. You all right?
Yeah, just sneezed. I didn't want to make.
Bless you. Didn't even hear it. Those are the kind of sneezes I like. I don't have to hear them and be bothered with them, but I will give you a bless you.
I'll make sure I'll announce it next time.
Dude, I was at the store and I sneezed and this guy turns around and goes, blessings, like this to me. And I'm like, I was like, are you blessing me? Because I don't even know you, dude. And he had like some sort of like, it looked like a metal band or something, like necrotic or some kind of, and I don't know what, I was looking at
I don't know if I want those blessings.
I was like, I don't know what kind of black metal you're doing with your blessings there. And he was like, he looked at me like, he had like the emo hair over one eye. And I was just like, okay. He turns around and he's just like, fine, don't take it. I'm just like, he looks at the clerk and shakes his head and he walks off and she's like, that guy totally creeped me out. He had like the weird contacts and stuff and he's like giving me blessings. And I'm like, I don't think I want that.
Blessings from Gorgoroth.
I'd be like, Stefan, I guess I don't want the blessings. I don't want your blessings. That's how Stefan talks. Yeah. Stefan's probably watching going, I don't talk like that.
I don't think I would talk like that.
I don't think I want your blessings. They're probably from hell.
No, my mom used to yell at me and try to like chase me around the house every time I sneezed. So
you couldn't even sneeze.
No,
that sounds about right.
It's my fault. It's because I would always scare her by.
It's his fault.
I would overtly announce my sneeze by being like and then just letting it all out.
Stefan,
so she would always like yell and scream. So
Yeah, my
she's
sneezes are loud.
They are.
yeah. I mean,
They're very
I
obnoxious, and he does it multiple times.
doing that all the time just scared the crap out of her. So now she just would, every time I was about to sneeze, she would just like raise something at me.
Yeah, and thank you, Gil.
shut up.
Gil Sanchez just said it right there. See, I will get to your story. I just it takes time. But this guy was very pushy, and then Anthony, you came down and you asked me about a couple different stories, and I said, yeah, I'm talking to this guy. We finally talked, and he actually apologized the first time, and he started giving me his story, and I said, okay, and I'm writing it down, whatever. Dude, the very next day, this guy tries calling me 2 or 3 times. I don't know this number. It's from like Maryland, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he says he's from upstate New York. So he's got a Maryland phone number. I didn't answer because I wasn't talking to anybody from Maryland at that time.
Well, I'm pretty sure, like knowing you, you always say like, "Hey, text me so I know it's you." Like that seems like a very easy.
That's what I said.
Yeah, it's
I
common
said, dude, you
sense.
need to text me to let me know. And he got so mad. And he was like, F you, with the F with a bunch of stars. So that was nice. He didn't make me read that. But apparently I really aggravated this guy. And he said, yeah, I was right about you the first time. I'm taking my story. And he said he was going to go to the swamp guy. And I told him, I said, go ahead. Did you think that hurts my feelings?
Think he's gonna use it?
I was like, he doesn't need your story. And the truth be told, I don't need it either. I mean, you want to be rude about it. I mean, I have a lot of people trying to give me stories. Like every day I get new stories. And I'm not trying to be crack. Is this thing? Turn it a little bit. I'm not trying to be rude to anybody. But it was like, you know, what? I didn't understand this, you know. And he goes, I tried calling you 3 times. Well, I looked and I saw 2. That was a lie. So I saw 2, but it was, I said, from Maryland, because there was another person from Vermont or New Hampshire, and they actually had the number on it from New Hampshire. So I knew it wasn't him, that was a female. And I said, is that you? And he's like, don't worry about it. I'm going to let everybody know what piece of crap you are. I'm going to go to Reddit and talk about you. And I said, really? He's like, yeah, that's where people are complaining about you. I said, good. Go to the armpit of the universe and go there and say negative things. So congratulations, Mr. D. Thank you for being that kind of person. That's the kind of people that you deal with. And I get one of these probably once a month. I wouldn't say it's more than that. I get snarky people that are pushy and aggravating, but not like that. But about once a month, and I talk to you and Anthony, I talk to you, Tony, about this. We get this about once a month, somebody who will just go completely bananas on us. And why? I was supporting you. One guy was a Patreon member, and he's like, I'm not going to do the Patreon no more. You're a piece of crap. You don't care about the $10 tier, people. Why is that? And just completely, and then he went into the chat of one of the filthy people and said a bunch of stuff. And I'm just like, dude, wow. I can't win for losing, or we can't win for losing, and but that's just what it is. I mean, you know, it comes with the territory, and anybody who's got a show and has to retell people, whether they're retelling them on their emails or it doesn't matter. You're going to deal with the lunatic fringe that's going to be angry. And they're going to say you don't have time for people, and you don't care about people, and you don't do this and you don't do that. You haven't cured cancer yet. Why?
Speaking of which,
And then when you do
why
that-
haven't you
Huh?
cured cancer? That's a good question.
Well, I mean, because I'm not a miracle worker.
Well, and then, but see, the thing is, if you do cure cancer, they're going to be like, oh, you waited until all these people died.
And then you get sued.
What
by
took you so long? Yeah.
Class action lawsuit brought about a man that cured cancer. Why did you wait so long? Tonight at 10. So that's kind of where we're at. We don't we're not perfect, but now I'm a blasphemer, and I can say this: there's a lot of people throughout history who've tried to tell people the truth about things, and guess what? They were called all kinds of names too. And I made a statement the other day.
That was the least of their worries.
I had 2 black pens here, and now they're both gone. What
It's
is?
probably
Oh,
just buried under
there
something.
it is, buried under something. There it is, right. So I'm going to say one more thing. We're going to get started. I had people telling me all these things, that you're a blasphemer. I was called a heretic, and saying that what I was saying was hubris and all kinds of nastiness. Thank you for that donation. We appreciate it. Solovino. Oh yeah, he's a good guy, man. Thank you. Unbelievable, the things that they were telling me. But, that's 10%. The 90% was good. It was all good. But the 10% was really bad. They were just like, the hate. And you could tell, by the way, that the things they were saying, they really disliked the crap out of me. And I messaged back to a couple of them, and I said, Jesus went through the same thing. Oh, now you're comparing yourself to Jesus. Never said I was Jesus.
No, we're comparing you to a Pharisee.
Yeah, I'm comparing you to the Pharisees. Jesus went through the same thing. He told people they were wrong, and everybody lost their collective minds. This thing is jumping around, this numbers down here. What is that? It was it shot up to 369 and came back down.
I don't know. YouTube's acting weird today.
So we don't really know what we're at. But I can tell you this. It was very eye-opening because there were a couple people who told me that they had their suspicions about me for a while. And I was like, I've been saying the same thing for years, so I don't know how that could take you so long to figure out.
Well, I mean, it's good to know that the Spanish Inquisition came back and they're making a resurgence and resuming activities.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. I didn't expect it. I was totally taken by surprise. But they were very nasty and mean, and they just said that I was going to be burning in hell and all this other stuff. And I'm leading a bunch of people down the bad path. And how dare I attack the Bible? First of all, folks, I didn't attack the Bible. I said that the Bible is incomplete. That's what I said. I stand by that. One lady, she asked me, she's like, on the day of judgment, will you stand before God and say that? I said, absolutely. I stand by what I said. It is incomplete. I'm sorry that people are so nasty and snarky about the truth. I can't speak for God, but I'm sure he knows. I'm sure God is well aware of everything that's going on. He's not in the dark, okay? Some people were telling me they were going to tell God, okay? He already knows. He knows y'all took the books out of the Bible. He knows.
I'm telling on you.
So if you have ears to hear and eyes to see, then come and learn. But there are people who give you death threats. That didn't happen. I can't say it hasn't happened this time around, but the last time we did that 5-hour talk, oh man, there are people telling me that they're wishing me dead, praying that I would die. How are you going to pray to God that someone dies? Are you going to be able to stand before God at judgment and say that? Yeah, I prayed that he died because he said that there were things that we needed to learn about the Bible.
I want him to die because I didn't agree with him.
I didn't agree with him.
The things he said made me feel bad.
He explained things that way I wanted them to be incorrect. You don't have to believe it. It's the truth, but you don't have to believe it. You don't have to listen to it, and you can turn the TV off. You don't have to listen to me right now. Click right now, and it goes away. That's all you got to do. It's very simple, but I'm going to tell you the truth. If you don't want to hear it, don't tune in. I love you. I love my enemies. I'm not joking. I really do. It took me years to find that. This isn't even something I could have done 3 years ago. Anthony, you remember that?
Yeah.
I had the conversation with my cousin Trey. And you guys were all telling me that I should forgive and love. And I said, it's very hard. I try. I finally found it. I found peace through forgiveness. I don't hate those people. I don't. Let them believe what they want to believe. Let them say what they're going to say. They're going to attack, and they're going to attack, and they're going to attack. And they can pretend like they stop, but they really don't. They're just trying to regroup and figure out another way to come at you, and then they just find another way and another way and another way. And you keep thwarting it. And maybe eventually something sticks. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, they're trying to find an Achilles heel there. And in a moment of weakness, something will attack. It doesn't end. Because they're using bad things. But we got to pray for protection. Pray. Thank you for that, Red Harvest, for those for the membership. We got to pray, and you got to keep, stay strong. And the haters are going to hate. Let them hate. I go through a light version of hell with this, okay? I'm not going to say I go through real, because hell is something you can't imagine. But I go through a light version of it every day, dealing with people who don't like me, who want to voice their opinion on me, or the story that this guy gave me after he wasted an hour and a half of my time. Then he tells me, you can't use those stories. After all that mess, he said, I don't want you. You're not allowed to use them. You cannot use them. I said, okay, I got you. He said, you start using my story, I'm going to sue you. All right. Said he gave them to 2 other people that deserved it. Loud and clear. I hear you.
I can't wait for all of us to not use your story.
I'll be real honest. I wasn't that impressed. But if you feel like they're that important to you, then I won't tell them. But if someone else has a similar story, I'm not going to not tell it, and don't get it confused and think I'm talking about yours. Because there's a lot of people who have the same thing happen. So, anyway, that being said, sorry that not everybody's going to like me, and they're not everybody's cup of tea. And now we got some people in the chat. Let's get going here, man. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, we're going to talk about some Dogman. Did you label this Dogman Ghost? What'd you say?
I just put like cryptid paranormal
Okay,
tales.
so we only can tell cryptid paranormal tales. Sorry, folks, can't do those.
Dang, we had
We're
all
gonna
these
find
other
one.
stories.
Because paranormal and cryptid are 2 totally different things.
Yeah, we don't want to
Yeah.
confuse them.
Paranormal is about ghostesses, and cryptid is about Dogmanses.
Skeletonsies.
Dog mangs. Dog mangs and big feet.
Dogmans and big feets. It's the same thing. It really is. And people ask me, they're like, "You do a lot of cryptids. You do alien abduction. Why'd you call it paranormal?" Because it's all paranormal. You can call it whatever you want. You can
You
call
do
it,
surgery, and I think your friend's a dentist, but why are you guys calling yourself doctors?
It is what it is. So I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to start with this one. And this one was given to me by some people who are from Texas. Why does it seems like the lighting is weird.
It seems dimmer, doesn't it?
Yeah, it keeps like turning red and then it dims. What is that?
I don't know. It's
What are we
weird.
doing here?
It's like it gets dark sometimes and then it'll.
It doesn't make sense. What's happening? Is it these weird looking lights, these weird possessed lights that do things? But see, it started blinking. See, as
all
as
of
I
our
talked about it, it started doing that.
All of our equipment's starting to act weird.
Put the camera on you for just a second. I got to do something, and I don't want to.
We're trying to work this out.
You sit here looking at me trying to fix something.
Does it do that with us? Like, have you seen on the phone if it's like looks dark when it
Like,
cuts
it
to
looks
us?
good on us. What I'm seeing right now.
Well, it's always gonna look good on me.
You know what I just
Obviously.
realized now that I look at us together? I'm Mushu Mustard and you're Anthony, a bottle of ketchup.
Oh, come on, man! Why you gotta say that?
I'm peanut M&M and you're just regular M&M. You think it's his hat?
You could have thought of something cooler, like what's those dudes from Mortal Kombat, Cyrax, and
Oh yeah,
it's like a red one and a yellow Sector and Cyrax. No, ketchup and mustard.
Hey, I said M&Ms.
M&Ms aren't like cool robots that kill, fight, and punch and kick stuff.
I don't know. I don't really see us being anything other than bottles of ketchup as soon as I saw it on the phone.
At least I'm wearing like a nice burgundy. Like that looks like a lot like just nasty. It looks like brown mustard, or like mustard that's sat out too long. And it
They
just
can't really see
crusted.
it, but your texture of your shirt just looks like chopped beef. So
Who doesn't love chopped beef?
uncooked chopped beef. That's the issue.
You don't be quiet. You're talking about this. What do you food?
Yeah.
You're calling each other food names?
No,
now?
he saw fit to call us food. I didn't start this.
Yeah, I'm trying to do something. I heard him, but he's Tony. Like, why do you care what he says?
Well, come on.
Nobody in this whole show cares what he says, ever.
I think everybody does.
I think nobody does.
That's why I hold my voice, because I know how
Here we
much
go.
sway it
Okay, be
has.
quiet. Shut up. Here, okay, so anyway, this story was given to me. I think we got the lighting thing done better.
Oh, just real quick, Sugi, we have the zipper hoodies out there on the store, so
Yes,
go check them out.
zipper hoodies.
Mhm.
Did you get we didn't get the new colors or the
Not yet.
old colors had to be put in there. Okay, so this story was given to us by some people who live in the DFW area, and they came down for a family reunion that took place. I think they said Marble Falls. 1 second. Never mind. Dripping Springs. Why did I think Marble Falls? Anyways, they got themselves a place in Austin, and it was kind of close to where we live. And they didn't do that by design. That was kind of an accident. And so they booked a place off of 620, and then they realized their mistake, and they couldn't get out of it. But anyway, this happened a few years ago in 2018, which would be, I guess, 5 years ago. Not that long ago. And they were driving around exploring the area by the lake. It's still not doing it, is it? It's still not working. So they were driving around exploring. It just keeps like fading. It's weird. I thought I had fixed it, but I guess it's still not. It's not going to. It's like, I don't know, folks. That's driving me nuts. But they were driving around by the lake, and they decided to go exploring, and they went up to, what's it called? The off Comanche Trail where we used to work. What's it called? The restaurant, Oasis. So they went and ate dinner at the Oasis, and they drove around, and they drove all the way out to Lakeway, and they came back up, and they turned around because they got turned around. They missed the exit for their hotel or place that they were staying there, B&B, and they went into the wrong subdivision, and then they went into the parking lot of a church, and the wife and him were arguing. And she was like, "This isn't the right place. This isn't. It's further down." And they're not from Austin. They don't know the area. And so he told me this story. He's like, "I thought, and I thought he thought it would be a good, And one of my listeners recommended him to me. And so he said, I'm not from Austin. I've been there 100 times. I had never stayed in that area. Like I said, he was from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And he said, when I was in that parking lot, immediately, me and my wife, we knew something was wrong. He's like, as I'm turning in, he's like, my headlights catch a glimpse of something that looks like it's laying down between two trees. Now the area where they're talking about, and you guys, it's close to, we've talked about this, it's close to where we live. Mm-hmm. It's heavily, heavily wooded.
Yeah.
Chris Clough can attest to that. Bart Nelly can attest to that. They've been out to, and it's woods everywhere.
Forested for sure.
Very heavily forested area. You can go to like Concordia College or even close to downtown there. There's just, you walk in and out of woods.
Yeah, there was a dogman sighting behind that movie theater there, right?
Mm-hmm, by the movie theater, yeah. So it's a very heavily wooded area, and it's full of caves. So when he said that he saw a dogman there, or at least that's what he thought it was, I wasn't surprised. But this is the description they gave me of what they saw. It was laying down between two trees. He's like, my headlights illuminate yellow eye shine. Doesn't surprise me, like I said. But what happened was pretty scary. It would probably scare anybody. It stands up, and his wife's like, "That's a deer." And he's like, "What is that?" And she's like, "That's a deer." And he's like, "But the eyes are glowing yellow." When they turned the vehicle, the light illuminating the eyes, it was not on there anymore. So the eyes were still glowing yellow. And she's like, "That deer's eyes." And he looks and he goes, "Honey, that's not a deer." Now, some of these churches, and we think we found the one, because me and my wife are driving around kind of looking. We think we found the one where they were at, but we're not 100%, because they couldn't give me a real good description. They were too busy trying to get away, and they had an argument about which vehicle to bring down. She thought it would be a good idea to bring what I thought it was a Subaru. I went back and I double checked. It was a RAV. It was a small, like a whatever,
Yeah.
whatever they're called. It's the smaller Toyota,
Mhm.
not a big vehicle. He wanted to bring the truck. They have a Ford F-250. And she's like, we don't bring a big old truck. And he was like, we're going to be driving out by the lake. You know?
Mhm.
Why would I do that? She's like, no, let's take the little small, I think it was a Toyota. I don't know if it's a RAV, whatever. Toyota. No, RAV is that's the SUV.
The
She
RAV4
said
is
it's a
the one that
small
looks
Toyota
like a
sedan. That's not a
Okay.
RAV. A small Toyota sedan. I don't know if it was a Corolla or
Corolla.
whatever, but that's a small vehicle.
Yeah.
You're not going to be jumping many curbs trying to get away from Dogman and that. And that's exactly what happened. And now, if you go into the parking lot of some of these places, there's these trees in the middle of the parking lot, you know, and it's like that everywhere. And if you're driving, you may run into a tree or a curb, and usually there's one way in, one way out. It's late at night, nobody at this church. And this creature they thought was a deer came running toward the vehicle. At first, it kind of came out trotting. Wife looks back in the rearview mirror as they're going around this curb to try to get back out. Because they had kind of gone down in there, you know, looking for an exit, and then we have to turn back around. As he's trying to navigate and get back out, this thing comes running toward their vehicle and almost gets to it. Well, guess what? It wasn't on four legs. It was on four legs, and then it stood up on two legs. The front arms were out in front of it. The way she described it was like a raptor, like a velociraptor if a raptor was chasing your vehicle. Scary thing. Not something you want to see going for a night drive with your wife. And he's over there mad because he can't just go over a curb, and he's like, you wanted me to bring this vehicle, and this is what happens. So they get back onto the road, and this thing runs out of the driveway and is fully erect at this time, standing on two legs and running almost alongside their vehicle. She can see it in the rearview mirror looking down, and it's crouched down and it's looking, and then it just jumps into a ditch and runs off into the woods. 6.5 foot tall, they estimate.
Dang.
Large, though, huge upper body. Kind of skinny legs, she said.
He skipped leg day.
Skipping leg day. Yeah, and then she's like, we got a really good look at this. And she's like, if there were cameras at that church, they probably have it on camera. And I said, did you go back the next day and see? She's like, well, no, the next day was, Monday. And she's like, it was our last day there. And she said that she thinks that if there was, and I said, did you get the name of the church? And she said, no, we didn't. We just got out of there. We just drove. And she said that they went all around the city to try to avoid going back into that area. See, and that's the thing. People will tell me crazy things like, well, I'm going to go look for Dogman. Well, you go ahead and look for Dogman. But the people that see it and who have these encounters where this thing comes out at them and actually chases them and actually is aggressive and is in attack mode, they don't go back and look for it. I really don't know many people who really, truly see it. I mean, truly see it. Now, I remember when I was working with the other guy on the other show, and he and I both talked with a guy who had said, yeah, I saw one of these dogmen on my property. Next day I had to go hunt, so I was my head was on a swivel. I was a little bit alert, and I'm like,
Yeah, I remember he's like, then like next week he had to go fishing or something.
yeah,
I'm like,
you remember.
what the heck
So
are you
then
talking about?
I talked with the other guy, V, about it, and V was like, I don't believe that. You don't see this thing. And then the next day you're like, well, yeah, I had to go back out hunting the next day and then the next day and the next day. And I saw it again and again, I have a really, I'm going to say no. I have a hard time with that because I really don't think that's the case. If you saw this thing and it came out at you the way you claim it did, I doubt very seriously you're going to go, hey, you know what? I'm going to go back out the next day and the next day and the next day and go into the same area. And just be very nonchalant about it. Oh, my head's going to be on a swivel, though. I'm going to be paying attention.
Maybe he forgot.
Oh, it's like 51st dates?
Yeah,
he just forgot that happened the day before. And the next day and the next day.
I mean, hey, it happens. People forget
And
things.
then the werewolf is like, you again?
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and eat you because I have given you a couple chances and you just keep coming over here. That's it. I can tell you, man, I'm not saying 100% because there are people who, and I call them sociopaths, you can't startle them, you don't scare them. And I believe I interviewed one. Now I'm going to call this guy Blake because that's his name. And he told me, he's like, use my name. I don't care. I don't give a crap, you know. But Blake told me a really interesting story. He had gone out hunting down in South Texas on a friend of ours' property. And Blake told me that he was down there and he saw one of these things come right up to his deer blind and kind of peek in. And then it got down on all fours and left. And I was like, were you afraid? He goes, yeah. Just like that. You actually know what I'm talking about? I think you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so he says, yeah, I was afraid. And I'm like, his son, I know his son's like 14 at that time. He's a grown man now. It was like 10 years ago. He's like 24. And so I told Paul, his son's name is Paul. I said, Paul, did your dad really see it? He goes, yes. He's like, yes, absolutely. He goes, I was with him, and I was screaming and crying, and I got behind him, and he kept telling me to be quiet. And then he goes, as this thing walked away, he just kept hunting. While both of his sons were in absolute terror and screaming. The little one was so young that I don't even think he remembers it. He just remembers being scared because his brother was crying. And they still hunt. But Paul doesn't. But the other two do. The Blake I've had some experiences with him as being a person who does not have feelings or emotions. We're not friends. I'll be real honest with you. He's not my friend. He's somebody I don't really like. He's just, I've known him since high school, but he's not my friend. He's from a neighboring town. I don't even want to say because everybody will know who I'm talking about. He's just, he's very passive aggressive, and he is a cantankerous individual. Do I believe his story? Yeah, I believe his story. Do I think that he was startled or afraid? No, probably not. I've never seen him show any emotion. He's one of those with the glasses and the beady eyes. The beady eyed glasses people. They just don't they're just like, I didn't do that. Head in the box. What's in the box? He's that kind of guy, 7. I don't care if you hear me. I know you didn't like me either. I think you're a sociopath. That's the truth. It's the truth. There's a lot of people who can attest to that. He might try to shoot you. He's the kind of person who might, he doesn't watch the show. I'm not in danger. He doesn't watch the show. He doesn't believe in anything. He doesn't believe in God. He doesn't believe in anything. And there are people who are his friend that I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works. How can you not see this person as what they are? But he had an encounter. And when he told me, it was, Blake's his middle name, so we're not really telling his first name. Everybody knows him by his first name. I call him by his middle name. Yeah. He gave me a full description of it, too. Even said what its breath smelled like. It smelled like rotten meat, and it breathed into, and he thought it was a giant wolf. And he pointed his rifle at it. This is where things get weird. This is not a gun that is going to misfire, typically. But when he tried to shoot it, it didn't fire. And when it walked away on 2 legs, looking back at him and kind of smirking in like his own words. His son says, I remember it very clearly. He doesn't talk to his dad anymore for obvious reasons, but he said that there was something going on with this thing that it was not a completely flesh and blood, like a normal, like it's not what you would think it is. Now, in that same area, our friend who owns that land, he rents that out to go hunt. There's people that go hunting right this minute, probably out there hunting right now as we speak. So I'm not going to say his name. It starts with an R. Y'all know him. But and he would probably prefer me not to say anything because he doesn't want people to be afraid, and he doesn't know what he believes. 3 people have seen something out there. One of these people is Paul's friend that he grew up with. That's his son. And then he went out there to go hunting, and his friend shot this. Well, I don't know if it's the same creature, but he shot one of them. And guess what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. It just kind of went like that. He got down on all fours and didn't run. It just walked away. Just walked away. Because if the stories are to be believed, you have to shoot it in a certain spot. As far as that goes, I don't know what to believe. Maddie says, is it buffering for you too? Is it buffering? What's going on?
Yeah, every now and then. I mean, I don't know why, because everything's showing that it's a healthy connection on our end. So if you're having problems, like if it just keeps buffering, showing the little circle and pausing, if you're on your phone, try like closing out the app, like exiting out of it all completely, and then just coming back. If you're on the computer, you can just hit the refresh button on the browser. Hopefully that'll fix it, because it's got to be something on YouTube's end. Because I mean, everything's working on our end.
I'm looking at it right now. Mr. Woods says, can't kill what's already dead. Probably correct. But I'm going to tell you, though, another story about these weird creatures. And I say weird, it gets weirder. Have you ever heard of a dog man that's robotic? Have we talked about that before?
I don't think so.
Doesn't sound
I
familiar.
thought
Not
we
that I
talked 1 or
remember.
2 shows about it. I thought we did. I'm going to record tonight for the next Tuesday show, and you're going to hear AI stories that are shocking, to say the least. Not just robotic, what could be biological or robot people, but Dogman, Bigfoot. Are we living in a matrix that's these things are being produced? Do I believe that they're all that? No, I don't. Do I believe in some of these stories that we're getting now? I do. I believe that some of these people, I don't think it's a, Cryptidville says, I heard a report of one that had metal spikes on its back. Yes. Oh, yeah. It gets weird. It gets really weird. Congratulations to Larry for going out and becoming a member of the Brotherhood of the Wolf with Barton Nunley.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not something I aspire to because I don't want to just sit out in the cold. but for my brother Barton, I will do it. We're going to go out there and we're going to sit and freeze our butts off probably in early spring.
We can sit around a campfire.
That's the other thing I don't want ticks. I don't want the ticks. I don't want to go crushing through the brush and get ticks.
I would just march right in there and tell those ticks to knock it off.
Yeah, just knock it off.
Yeah.
Go away.
I'm telling you, you're ticking me off. So
Hey, Letitia. I see Letitia. Is Barton in there? I think Barton's in there. Susan Woodcarver. Always remember what you did for my mother. Real quick, while I'm thinking about it, too, and I'm going to get into another weird story. I'm going to finish these. We got an award that we got at the conference, and this is so ridiculous. It's now November. We had put it away. And can y'all read that? What does it say here? Josh Wolf Turner, Tony and Anthony, PRT Podcast, Best Host, Best Co-Host, Best Podcast, Best Conference, 2022-2023. You see that?
it's official.
It's official. We actually won the Listener's Choice Award Do you know what that is? Do you have any idea? You don't, do you? And you're never going to because it's not your business.
They didn't choose you.
They didn't choose you. They chose us. That's the plaque we got at the conference.
We're the chosen ones.
That's right. It's from the Susie Jago Society. One of our listeners made that for us. Just we didn't win the Paranormality Awards, which I still have a hard time understanding how that happened when we actually, what did we were in second place overall,
Yeah.
but somehow the guy that won, he didn't even win our he won our category.
Mm-hmm.
Or he wasn't even in our category. So we didn't win our category, but yet we came in second place overall. How does that work? One of the great mysteries of the universe. Because I know we got a lot of votes if they were really keeping track of the votes. But somebody had said something to me about that, and I just they kind of told me that it wasn't, and I was like, I don't want to say anything. I don't know. But I kind of wondered about that. We're also going to make ourselves, and we're going to have an award ceremony for ourselves, and at the end of December, at the end of the year. And we are the only ones on the ballot. You can vote, but it doesn't matter because we're the only ones on the ballot, and we're going to win. So be prepared for us to present ourselves an award at the end of December.
Yeah, it's a 50 question ballot with 3 choices each.
And then on the second one, you can enter to win an award, but you have to give us an award, and then we'll give you an award. So we just swap awards so everybody wins and nobody loses.
You're just passing awards off to each other.
Yeah, we're just swapping awards.
That's how it works. That's how you get those good awards.
Participation trophies.
And this ceremony's been going on for about 50 years, so it makes it a very prestigious, unique thing that we do here.
Larry Fisher, thank you for that donation.
Hey,
Fisher
Larry.
and Sons. You got his hat? Where is it?
Yeah.
Fisher and Sons Roofing. And congratulations for being a part of the Brotherhood of the Wolf. Oh, here we go. We'll just put that on the camera. There it is. There's the number. So what I wonder, though, about these beings, these creatures, these dogmen, and I got another one out of Sacramento that I'm going to tell you. There's a guy who was a security guard named Scott. He's from Sacramento, and he gave us a really, really creepy story. He was driving. He was one of those guys. Like we have him. He drives around a little patrol truck. We have cars, and we got one truck, but we got cars for the most part for our guards because it's more economical. But out there, he had a truck, and he was driving a full size truck, and I guess he had the insignias on the side. And he was coming around this area by a big pond, and there was this creature that came up out of the pond, shaking itself off. And he's like, this is the largest coyote I've ever seen in my life. He looks down and he sees this, what he can only describe as a werewolf on all fours. Now, I will say this. It never stood up to show itself as a werewolf, but he's like, it's one of those things where, and I've heard this many times, we all have, he's like, you just know that it's not a dog, it's not a coyote, and it's not a wolf. You can tell this thing is not natural. The front paws looked really big, and then it almost looked like they were hands. He's like, I see it come up out of the pond, and then it just bolts. And he's like, and it is, where it comes out onto the pavement, he's like, it was so fast. He goes, it should have been like, I should have hit it full on. But instead, he goes, it moved so quick. I slammed on the brakes, but I caught it on the right side of my truck on its rear end. He goes, and then it kind of flipped a few times, and he goes, and then I ran right over it. He's like, the way it hit, the way that it should have been, unalived. He's like, there's no way that thing should have been alive. He's like, I go over it with both tires. And I'm like, what did I just hit? He goes, I know that wasn't a dog. It was something weird about that thing. He's like, I look back at my rearview mirror and it's gone. Just like that, boom. He's like, no, it was dark. It was nighttime. He goes, it was like 12 o'clock at night. There wasn't nobody around. He's like, I look back, it's gone. It's by these apartment complexes. On the other side, there's some houses. No, there was nobody out. It was a cold night. It was last winter. And he's like, dude, I hit this thing that was physical, flesh and blood, wolf-like creature. Black. He said the head was huge. The upper body was real big. The lower body was a little bit smaller, like, and it kind of tapered down, but it had a big old tail. He's like, and I'm not going to lie, he goes, it looked like it was running on hands. Like if a person was down on all fours running, that's what it looked like, but with like a wolf's body at the back end. He's like, I don't know if it could stand up or not. He goes, it just looks so bizarre to me. Like if somebody took the upper body of a man and stuck it to the lower body of a wolf. That's what he said. And he ran it over. But immediately after looking back, it was gone. A couple days ago, he goes home, he tells his girlfriend, his girlfriend, she's like, I don't believe you. She basically didn't believe him. She said, I believe you hit a dog. And he's like, he was very, very upset. And he's like, me and my girlfriend had a huge argument the next day because she didn't believe me. And she's like, you can't make me believe you. She's like, I think something happened, but I don't think what you said happened. She's like, how are you going to run over a physical creature and then it just vanishes behind you? So he did what any good listener would do, and he says, well, talk to Josh Turner. And she's like, who the hell is that? The country singer? Long Black Train? He's like, no, some guy from Texas who talks a bunch of crap.
Never heard of her.
And she's like, yeah, I've never heard of her. And she just closes the door, throws his pillow, sleep on the couch. You bum.
You haven't
I'm
heard
joking,
of?
Scott. That's not what happened. What?
I was gonna say they haven't heard of the man who the heretic and the heathen and the man who deals with the devil,
Blasphemer.
the blasphemer.
Yeah. Rita Burnett, thank you for that donation. We
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
that. But, you know, that really helps a lot. Thank you so much, Rita. But, you know, I told him this. I said, dude, you can't be too hard on her because I was very honest. I was like, Scott, if I didn't know what I know and I wasn't in the know with this and somebody just randomly told me, you know, I was driving. I'm like, let's say it was one of our guards. And let's say I had never seen one of these creatures, right? And you guys know, I'm pretty pragmatic. When somebody tells me something that happens on the job, I don't go, oh, that was a lechusa.
Yeah.
Let's go get the net and let's go catch it because we've caught the lechusa. It's up in the tree. Weird stuff happens all the time. And my first reaction is not, oh, that's a dog, man. That's a demon. Yeah. You know, you hear devil, the devil. That's not my first reaction to anything. When I hear, you know, I'm thinking, okay, what is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think people mistake that since we have a paranormal show that we're constantly wanting it to happen to us at all times. And I think it's like,
So you got to move over because you got the words on your face.
wow.
All over your face, all over
Yeah,
the
you're
place.
sitting kind of like far back. Well, you were.
When you
I
want
was
the
trying to-
words, the face is the place. Go ahead.
No, but yeah, like people think that since we do a paranormal show, that we want paranormal stuff to happen to us all the time and we want to deal with it. But it's like, we prefer it if it just stays away.
Exactly.
I mean, our job is
Valuho,
to...
did you see what he put?
No, what do you say?
It's the dog, it's the pig, it's the ferret, it's the birds, Mushu. Exactly. That's what go ahead, Anthony. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I was saying our job is to tell people that about your terrifying experience, not to have them ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd rather you have those experiences
Yeah.
and you just at our leisure,
Yeah.
we will get in touch with you.
Yeah, if
In
you
fact,
could
we're just going to jerk you around like Dee said. Not my brother, but the guy from wherever he's from.
Yeah, if you could just go off and be terrified and traumatized for us,
That'd be great.
that's when we step in.
And
right?
according to D, we're going to come back and traumatize you one more time by.
If you want the therapist, call the other guys.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not us.
And if
If you want
need any-
help,
if you need anything, you know who to call.
Someone else.
Someone else.
Ghostbusters, I guess.
Yeah, and that's not true, folks. We will do everything we can to help you. I will listen intently and then talk about it on the show. Because I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I can fly out to Sacramento and solve your problems. You know, if I'm in the area, Like if I'm out of state or something, you know, which I do occasionally, drive, go somewhere, or fly, whatever. If I have to do that and I'm in your area, maybe I can come by and talk to you about it or whatever. But I'm not real big on. I'm not going to run around, you know, like some of these people on such and such adventures or finding nothing, where they jump around saying a bunch of crazy stuff. That's not me. You're not going to see me on location unless it's for something for my show that has something to do, you know, something that I can do, you know, like a documentary, whatever. So I've been offered to go on other shows. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to disrupt people's lives so you can go and make a circus of it. And I've turned down a few gigs that were pretty big early on. I should have probably have done it. It might have helped. But I didn't believe in it. I didn't believe what they were doing. I just didn't. I didn't believe in it. No offense to them. One of them, I just couldn't do it. I really would have liked to, but some of them, though, I will do smaller shows that are my friends' shows before I do one on television that's just for views, whatever. The one I did on, what's it called? The one with Scorp.
Oh, These Woods Are Haunted?
These Woods Are Haunted. I can't remember the name of it. Michael Sheen's my friend. And he needed some help, so, you know, I like Michael. He's a good guy. He's always been nice to me. And so I said, yeah. I gave him several witnesses and, you know, whatever. A couple of them stood him up. I didn't appreciate that. It wasn't very nice. But, yeah. I am not trying to be famous. I'm not doing this because I want everybody to know who I am or whatever. The only reason I want people to know anything about me is so that I can tell what I need to tell. Truth. That's it. This person tells his girlfriend, hey, I saw this. They got in an argument. She tried to convince him that it was a dog. He's like, I slept on the couch. I was so mad. The next day, they go and they eat lunch, whatever. And he's like, I got to go back out to work tonight. She's like, jokingly, she says, well, I hope you don't see another werewolf. He's like, dude, I got so mad. He's like, and I was driving around. He goes, and I have my camera. I was ready. I was going to take a picture of this thing. Nothing. Doesn't see anything. Then at one point, he's driving around, and puts his phone down because he's got his phone like right there. And he's like, I'm going to get out and use the bathroom. He's got to do quick, you know. And he's like, and I'm kind of by a wooded area, but I have to go so bad. I've been holding it. He goes, I get out and I leave my phone right there on the dash. He's like, I see a flash, like a white flash, like move through the trees. And it looked like somebody that had turned on the flashlight really quick and beamed it like, you know, whatever. He's like, and then I look. He goes, and at this point, I ordered a camera, like a camera that I could put on my truck because the company didn't provide it. And he's like, I see this thing crouched down. I just see the head pop out, and I see it look like little raccoon hands. And I told him that's exactly what it looks like. Comes out of the trees. And he's like, I go to grab my phone, and it goes back in. And I was like, and then I told him, I said, look, even if you took a picture of it and you had a full-on photo, which I've seen 1,000 of them, it's not going to do you any good. In the age of AI, it doesn't matter. I think we did the right thing by not posting bunches of photos on the group. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think we just recognize the lack of need to do it when it, you know, people are going to attack you anyway for it. And
I mean, it doesn't really, like, posting pictures doesn't really accomplish a whole lot, because even if it's like a real picture, people still aren't going to believe you.
Well,
Like, even if they don't accuse you of just like fabricating it, like with a Halloween costume, oh, it's a guy in a suit, you know. I mean, like now there's like AI generated photos, and people are gonna say it's that. So it doesn't really it. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's like it's sad, and it's not the fault of the people who have pictures. It's just it's human nature. Like, people are gonna discredit you, you know, regardless. It doesn't. It just It just makes you look crazy to them.
Yeah, and you also have to look at like, there's certain, for instance, if I take a photo and I post it online, and someone's like, well, then you got two people looking at it. One person who looks at it believes in paranormal. They're going to look at it and see it for face value, and the other guy who doesn't believe in paranormal is going to look at it and debunk it, no matter if it's real or not. He just, because of his own inherent beliefs, he's going to propose that onto what you posted. So that's the issue as well, where there's a lot of these people who don't believe, and it's like, okay, so posting these pictures for them is useless because they already don't believe.
Yeah.
So if you're going to post pictures, I would just be like, oh, like I wish I could just post the pictures for the people who do believe, and they'll be like, okay, at least they can get to see this, so that you're not trying to convince them of anything. You're just trying to show them the evidence.
Yeah, like, and that just goes back to what I usually say is that, like, usually when people say that their beliefs are based on facts and evidence and all this, it's a coping mechanism, it's a cop-out, and it's a lazy one. People believe only what they want to believe. That is the absolute, hands-down fact. So, the people who talk this big game about, oh, facts and evidence, blah, 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 they do that to sound like they're smarter than you, and they're not.
Yeah.
They lie to themselves because these same people, you can show them all the facts and evidence for whatever you want, but if their mind is made up, they'll toss it right out of their brain. And I'm sure everyone here has experience with that. You've been right about something, and you know that you're right about it, and you have all the proof on your side, and you argue with someone, and when you come away from that, their mind is still exactly where it was at before.
Well, what I hate is that, like, people.
Suki says she don't see the zipper hoodies in the store.
Oh, well, think Anthony will check on
They're
that.
yeah, they're definitely there.
Anunnaki bro says
They might be
trust the
labeled
science.
as something else. Well, I mean, that's the issue with science. I mean, it's like
It's incomplete.
it's discovery, but it's like once you discover something, then all of a sudden it's like it just stays stagnant. Like, oh, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no.
Academia's got a vested interest
It's-
too in condemning. I would say this: there's a meme that went around. It was like 99% of scientists believe that whatever the money tells them.
Mhm.
It's like they have a vested interest in policing one another too, because the establishment makes them. They tell them, "You want money? You want a career? Then say this, because if you say this, you're not going to get paid." Same thing with churches. Churches get a tax exempt, so 99% of the churches are going to say across the board what they're told to say, because if they say something different, what is it called? What's that paper called they get?
Yeah, it's like
It's a tax break called a 501c3
501c.
tax break. Yeah.
They get a tax break. If you don't think that that's the most horrible idea ever, I don't know what to tell you, because what that does is puts government in control of what the church tells you, because they don't want to have to pay taxes. So the 501c protects them from taxes, but you better not be saying this, this, and this. If somebody goes and says that you're talking politics or you're doing this, you're doing that, they could really, really come down on you. If they so choose, they can just not even tell you. They can just pull that at any time. Yes, Mr. Woods, science is very limited. I always crack up when people are like, I trust the science. Or they go, I go where the evidence points. What evidence? All we have are people's encounters to go by. Show me your evidence. Or you can maybe not be in this field. Because there's people that are in this field who don't believe in anything. I'm 100% they don't believe in nothing. They don't care about it. All this is to them is a grift. This is a grift to them. That's what they do. They do this so that you will give them money. There's preachers. I'm not joking. My mom was, she had us go to this one church, and we went there twice. And my mom was like, there's just something not right about this guy. Did a little digging. This was when I was young. Turned out the guy had been the preacher of multiple churches in multiple small towns and had done the same thing and had absconded with a bunch of money. He was a con in every shape and form. He was an ex-convict in jail. He got out. And he was preaching in jail. And it was just a grift. My mother had that sense about her. She's like, it's too feel-goody, something not right. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. If there's no grittiness to it, that, you know, a little uncomfortable sometimes things are, because that's life. That's reality. Nobody's going to be 100% cheery, joking, smile like this, like my therapist, Joel. That's all he did. He's like, his eyes were even closed. It's like, yes. Well, I believe you saw a werewolf. But I don't think you did. You don't see anything because your eyes are closed. How can you smile so big that your eyes are closed? He smiled so much, I thought he was Korean. And then one day he opened his eyes big and said, oh, whoa, you're actually not Korean. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what they do. It's a con. And that's no knock on Koreans. I love Korean people and Korean food and Korean culture. I just don't like him. Joel Fleischman. I'll always remember his name because he had the same name as that guy from, what was it called? Northern Exposure. Kind of looked like him, too. Weird, curly-haired dude. Big liar. Tell you what you want to hear. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you right now. What Scott went through happens all the time. I would like to tell you there's a happy ending to this. He saw the creature again that day, and he went back into the woods and never saw it again. It was black with a little bit of brown in the middle of its body. And his girlfriend and him got into another huge fight because she's like, I don't believe this. He tried to get her to listen to DER, you know, that show. Everybody knows that show, and I'm not trying to plug them. I mean, I don't care what you do. Go listen to them. Don't listen to them. They got a bunch of encounters on there. Some of them are sort of believable. I don't know. I don't listen to it. But she was like, this is stupid, you know, and she didn't want to hear it. He didn't know who I was. He'd only listened to a few, and this was more recent, you know. And he found me. And his life got better, and everything was good. And we all had a giant bowl of food, and everybody just took a little bit. Yeah, no. It's not what happened. Not what happened. But he started listening to the show, and I got him in touch with one of the other witnesses that I had from that area, and they became friends, talked about it. You know, I said, look, I don't know this person, but if you want to reach out and they're willing to reach out or whatever, and that's fine. This is not a dating service. I'm just going to say that right now, but I think they're talking. It's a guy and a girl. Then that's good. That's fine. But I'm not responsible. I just told him, I said, if she's not your cup of tea or whatever, and he's like, no, we're talking. She's actually really cool. She lives in Northern California. They're friends now. I think that when something like that happens to you, you have to be prepared, folks, that people aren't going to believe you. This is where you come for people to believe you. These kind of shows here. Or whatever show you want to go listen to. I don't care. The bottom line is you can't just go and tell somebody and then go, hey, I saw a giant werewolf. I ran it over. I looked back and it was gone. That, to me, smacks of a supernatural element, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like that's something supernatural, because when you run something over with both tires and then you look back and it's gone. Now we go back to the one at the church. Once again, it was a black creature with light brown on its back, like kind of a ridge. And when they first saw it, it wasn't real shaggy though. It was a short-haired looking creature. And I kind of made a joke. And I said, did it look like somebody had shaved a dog werewolf? And he was like, he didn't laugh. And I'm sorry. Sometimes I joke inappropriately, and not inappropriately in the way that I'd say an off-color joke, but what I'm saying is like I'm trying to make the witness feel a little more, you know.
Yeah.
And then I said, did it look like somebody had shaved it or whatever? And he was like, I'm being serious. And I'm like, no. Don't take it like that. I'm not making fun of you. Not at all. I just try to bring some levity to the situation because it is when something like that happens to you, what can you do? I mean, folks, what can you do? I got made fun of, called Wolf Boy. Got into fights. Oh, the fights. I got into fights over this because I was constantly being told, oh, you're full of crap. Me and my friend both got into fist fights with people. He quit talking about it. I refused to stop. I'm like, you're not going to make me stop talking about what I saw. I know what I saw. And I do believe that there are people out there who suffer every day for this. One guy's a friend of ours. He's a friend of a friend's, really. I met him through another friend. I don't know him that well. He works in the oil fields. Same thing. He sees this big wolf-like creature. Thank you for that donation, Sugi. Did you get the hoodie figured out? I don't know. Hopefully. He sees this big wolf-like creature. Comes out of his truck while he's leaving the fields. A couple of people had seen it too, but they didn't work there anymore. And he told them. He told the foreman. The foreman's like, here we go. Not you too, right? And he told him, he says, I hope, the guy's name was Dan, the one that he was talking to. He says, Dan, I hope you see it. And Dan's like, I do too. That way I can believe. Because some people, they won't believe you until they see it themselves. To this day, I don't think he has. So Big Dan, hopefully, will see, and then maybe he can start believing the people who are telling him. Because when 3 people tell you that they saw something, how many people do need to tell you that they? I could march 100 people and have them sit in this chair and tell you their story, and we could just do a marathon show that lasts two months. 200 people, 100 people, whatever. Just keep telling. And there are people who will sit there and they will absolutely deny every single bit of it.
Yeah, at a certain point, it's crazier to deny it than it is to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you're saying is that all these people are wrong, and you're the only one who's right, and that they, I guess, how are they all wrong? Like in the same way, too, like what they just all got together in a big like smoke-filled rooms, like smoking cigars, sitting around a round table with like one light over the table, and just concocted the same conspiracy. We're all gonna tell the same lie. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, like you want to have people ridicule you.
Yeah.
Like I told somebody, I was talking about the paranormal the other day at one of the gyms we go to, and there was this guy and this girl, and the girl seemed like she was interested in hearing what I had to say. And then the guy asked me a question. He says, "How did you get involved in this?" I said, "I saw what looked like a werewolf when I was 15." They both laughed. The thing about the flesh and blood people that believe this werewolf is a flesh and blood creature, I'm going to tell you something, folks. You're the main one that they don't believe. Okay? I promise you from the bottom of my heart, I've interviewed way more people than you have. I don't care who's listening right now. I've interviewed way more people than you have. Okay? And let me tell you something, sweetie. Silky poo, whatever. They don't believe in this thing as a physical creature. You have a better chance of telling them that a ghost came through the wall. That happens a lot, let me tell you. That people will tell you that. And then something came through the wall, and that's the next thing I was going to talk about. Then, and try to take them to another dimension, then you saw a physical dogman creature. The only people buying into this physical dogman creature are the people from the dogman community. It doesn't go beyond that. The Bigfoot people who are strictly Bigfoot, they don't believe it's a physical creature. The ghost people don't believe it's a physical creature. The alien abduction people, they think maybe it's an alien, but more than likely it's something supernatural. So there you go. You're sitting on an island by yourself, and that's where you deserve to be. Because if you're so close-minded that you believe this thing is a purely flesh and blood creature and there's nothing else going on there, then you deserve to be on that island throwing spears at a plane. Okay? That's where you deserve to be. I said that. and I stand by it. Because I've talked to people. I was talking to two of my friends from the military. We were eating barbecue one day, or they were having a barbecue, whatever. And I started telling them my encounter, and my friend, he just looks at me and he goes, I can understand Bigfoot, but how the hell does a wolf-like creature stand up on its hind legs and move around? Like, the people that were there were a few who believed and said, maybe it's like a specter, spirit, or ghost type thing or something. But nobody's going like, yeah, that's an evolutionary creature. Yeah, let's make a group and let's call it those that believe in the dumbest crap ever. There is no now, there are physical attributes of these creatures, and I do believe there may be a physical creature, but there are also tons and tons of evidence that shows that it is not purely physical. When this guy can run something over with his truck, and then he looks back and it's gone. Right?
Like there wasn't even any like
Damage?
physical
damage,
evidence
nothing.
left in the street, like no fur, no blood, nothing. Jeez.
Absolutely nothing. So I told him, I said, Scott, how do you expect her to believe you? Because there's nothing there. Take a picture. Knock yourself out. It's not going to help. If there are physical creatures that are purely physical, I would say there's two things. One is government and the other one is a cave system. But even those creatures, I don't believe are purely physical. I believe they have an ability to move in and out of reality. We cannot comprehend that. And I do stand by what I say. I think they were created like eons ago, and they were here. And why do you think they're found near portals? And I'm gonna tell you a story, and this is going to be the one that's going to bring it together. Okay. I think it's Isaac's story. We knew a guy from Iraq. I'm not talking about an American soldier who went to Iraq. Now that's how we met him. But he was in Iraq. He was an Iraqi. And one of the things he told us recently, he told us for a while he was going to tell us a story. He goes, I got a story for you. What he told me blew my mind. And it takes a lot to blow my mind. And I went back over it with him again this past Thursday. As soon as the show was over, I believe we did with Craig Brian.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Ojibwe. Talking about skinwalkers. I believe it was skinwalkers, what he was dealing with. I got in touch with this guy. I was like, give me the whole story. Several months of talking back and forth and finally getting to where we could talk and we could get this fleshed out. Now, he works security too. And there's a guy that used to work for us. He's friends with that guy. That's how we met him. What he tells me was he was a translator. He was in the Iraqi military. He served in the Republican Guard for Saddam Hussein. He converted. He switched over. When they came in, he's like, dude, I'm fighting for an evil regime. He knew that. He offered his services to the Americans. And this is his words. He said, I didn't have a problem with what the Americans were doing. I had a problem with how they were doing it. He's like, they were doing things that most people don't know about. He saw something come out of what looked like a blurred mirror with like some sort of wood around the outside of it. He said it was wood, which would make sense. It's not going to be metal because it could disrupt. But there were all kinds of weird markings and runes on it. And he sees these two creatures that are just kind of kneeling down, and they looked like they're almost robotic, like they were just there. And he's like, are they wearing wolf heads? What am I looking at? What is this? What is this that I'm looking at? And he's like, I don't know what I'm looking at. And what he told us was really, really crazy. He says these things, it was like on cue. One of them blew a whistle, one of the soldiers, and both of these creatures stood up and they were upright. And they had these weird things on their heads. He didn't know what they were. They had these like cloths covering their, what would have been their ears. He goes, and then I look and I said, it's like this leather, like helmet looking thing. He said, and then I noticed there's spikes on either side of their head. He goes, those are ears. That's their ears. And these aren't masks. This is what he told me. He said, these weren't masks. They were not wearing headgear other than the little leather thing over their head, whatever. He said, these creatures, they were creatures, not people, but they had wolf heads. And he said there was a creature from Egypt, and he couldn't even remember the name of it at the time we were talking. He goes, I forgot the name of it. I said, Anubis. He said, yes. They look like that. And he has an accent, He's like, they look like the creature from the Egypt. From the Egypt. I was like, Anubis. He said, yes, Anubis, the Anubis. Tall, black, standing on either side of this thing. As crazy as that is, and he says, I'm going to tell you something, my friend. He goes, this is getting more worse. This is what he said. That's how he talks. This is getting more worse. Oh, and it did. What came through that mirror was a lizard. Lizard man, I don't know what you want to call it, Godzilla creature looking thing, whatever, had some spike on its head. Came through and just started like speaking in some kind of weird language, and one of the Iraqi officers accompanied with two of the Americans started talking to this thing. Like they knew each other. At that point, they all had to put on blindfolds, and then they were taken to an elevator, and they were lifted back up to the top. Well, I forgot to tell you, this is way down in the earth. And that's all he knows. And when they got to the top, one of the Iraqi officers, he hears 2 gunshots. Bam, bam. Doesn't know what they were doing. And then he told me they escorted them away, but 2 of the guys that were with him were no longer with him. And they told him, you want to go to America? Because we'll leave you here. This was like 10 years ago. So, what do you think? This is what people report, things like this, right? And I've gotten more stories like that, but I don't like talking about it too much. It's buffering.
Yeah.
Yep, I see.
There's some funkities going on for sure. Also just kind of breaks our flow.
Yeah, now we're down to 337 people. Yeah. Mad lagging. You said something. I did. See, I'm going to tell you something too, folks. We had talked about this. We talked about this, doing this. We talked about it last night.
Yeah.
We had talked about doing this. So maybe they were listening, because this stream has been screwed since the beginning. I've been wanting to talk about it, but I'm kind of waiting. I was kind of waiting for it to chill, but it's not chilling.
Good now.
Yeah, it's good now, but now that we've lost most of our audience, half of the audience, hopefully they'll come back. I can say this, though, that proves my point. You say something. The person that gave me that story has lived in fear for a long time. They're now an American citizen, but that doesn't protect you. He's willing to talk about it now and say what needed to be said. He was given his citizenship. I asked him, I said, have you had any harassment since leaving there? And he says, no, I haven't. Nothing. Nothing's. I think that they know that they put the fear in us enough. And also, he's a very pragmatic guy. And he says, my friend, who will believe I see a giant lizard with 2 wolf creatures? So he's like, who's going to believe that? I see 2 wolf men, with Godzilla. I said, yeah, that does sound kind of like Rampage, the video game. I mean, you're just kind of like Ralph and Lizzie. I don't know. We get these stories. People want to tell you, and then we said, hey, why don't you come on the show? And he's like, I'm not doing that. I get it. And then I can't even say his name. But people are afraid. They don't want to come forward and say all this stuff is going on. So I got to sit up here and tell you, and then you can look at me and think, well, this guy's full of crap. He's just making it up, or he's doing an AI story. It's not an AI story. This is not a bunch of crap. This is what we were told. And it's good that I have a team of people that can vouch for me, because it makes it easier. We'd all have to be in on this big charade, and we're not. And we have to weigh this too. Like me and Tony, we were going over the stories the other day, and we're like, do we tell that one, or what's the consequence? And then we have to weigh: do we say their name? Do we say the place, or do we not? Do we keep it? How do we do this?
There's a lot that goes in behind the scenes besides just listening to someone's story a couple times and writing it down.
Yeah, because you don't know. We don't know. They could just decide one day, hey, we're just going to shut you down because you just said a lot of stuff that we don't like you saying. And some people are stupid enough to jump for joy because America, because you don't agree with the KJV. You're saying there's other books that should be read, and I think that's wrong. I only like one Jesus, and that's a baby Jesus. I don't like the other ones. I just like that one, and I want to go to heaven and be with that one. Shame on you, preaching the word of God in Christ. These same people will go and listen to these televangelists and give them lots of money so they can go buy another house. They already have 9 of them. They don't need another one. They have 20 cars. They don't need another one. They got private jets. They don't need another jet. Why do they need another jet? You're going to help them? But you'll attack me because I'm trying to tell you the truth. I'm trying to tell you what's going on. And you're like, I don't like that guy. I was raised in a bubble. I'm going to stay in a bubble. Well, that's what it is. When you start talking about things that are not comfortable, people get uncomfortable. And when people get uncomfortable, things happen. It's just life. It's the way it is. During this whole war that we were going through, people were calling our phones, saying crazy stuff, calling our listeners, calling friends, close friends of ours, our families. And you know what I think? I think some of it was the enemy, but I think some of it was opportunistic because they wanted to push us out because that's what the powers that be want. I don't know if these people are shills or what they are. Part of me just wants to believe, that that's what they are. But part of me also just thinks that they're just being manipulated by the other side, by the dark side. Because when someone starts saying things that are uncomfortable, well, guess what? The devil has ears too. I can't tell you 100% that anything that we're told is 100% true. But I can tell you this, I'm not going to tell you if I don't believe it. I'm not going to tell you. And if I do tell you a story that I'm a little iffy about, I'm going to tell you, you know what? I don't know.
I mean, it used to be that you were able to hold, have the ability to have an opinion. And as a listener, you're able to hold your own judgment and not have it bother us. But nowadays it's like as we saw last night, even just saying what you personally believe and what you believe is what's going on causes such a big issue that all these people attack you for what? For how you believe? Like that it's going to affect them in any way? I mean, you should be able to speak on your beliefs no matter if they're correct or not. Not because, you're trying to change people to your way, but because being able to speak about your beliefs makes you able to conflict with other people's beliefs, and that leads to the truth. That leads to greater conversation, and it leads to finding a path that you can be happy about. And I think the most important thing is, I think people are so tribal sometimes, and they forget that, like, yes, we are a big part of this whole group and we are all together, but
They're not hearing us.
There's just certain people I'm listening on my phone to monitor the audio and the video.
okay.
Yeah, so I don't know.
All right. Well, I mean, like I was saying, it's just that they forget that, your path is your path, and that you can't affect other people's path, because at the end of the day, it's their path. So you can advise them, you can help them, you can lead them along, but you're not going to be able to stop them or make them do anything that they themselves don't want to. It's their path. You should lead your own path and have your own ideals. That doesn't mean that you should close yourself off to all people, but at the end of the day, like, stop caring so much about what other people think and care more about what you think, and make sure that what you're thinking is correct, and make sure that what you're thinking is something that you are happy about and that's something that you accept. I think that's the most important thing. Instead of sitting here and arguing and throwing hate about stuff that you can't change, you think that telling us that we're wrong and we're going to go to hell and that ghosts don't exist and demons don't exist and all this other stuff is going to make me think like, oh, okay, you said it, that means it's true. That's not how it works.
Another thing, too, Samuel Lemon made a comment. He says, Josh, you're an amazingly smart and perceptive person. Thank you for that compliment. And he said, Jesus did not ask us to worship him. He did all us. I guess he's saying, he asked us to follow him. What a friend. That's correct. But I say people lose their collective minds. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. It was a podcaster, whatever. And I know, I don't want to say people's names out because they'll probably get attacked or something. But he said, he goes, dude, I get messed with. I get trolled. He's like, but you guys, I mean, it's like the hate is just untenable. It's like it's unreal. It's like you guys go through another level. Like, it's like, I don't know, like he's like, I watch it. It doesn't make sense. It's like, it's like so intense from some people. And they'll message him and be like, why are you friends with him? Trying to get him to turn on me or something, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, I know that they're, I don't know. You tell me. I got people that absolutely love the heck out of me. They love the show. They love all of us. They're great. They donate money. They help out. They do everything they can to help. And then there's some people, they just hate our guts like you wouldn't believe. And they let us know. They take the time to go to other people's shows. Somebody screenshotted it the other day. It was a friend of ours that had what? It's kind of like the Aggies, and I know Larry's probably going, oh no, don't talk about my Aggies, because the Aggies I did, but I'm starting to get to where I don't really want them, because they get so angry about their it's like their identity. Being a Longhorn fan is not an identity for, not for me. Most Longhorn fans are just kind of like, whatever. You listen, you watch, but you don't spend your life hating the Aggies. The Aggies, on the other hand, it's a burning hatred that they have for UT. And I guess they have their reasons. They claim they have their reasons. I don't really know, because I like both, so I don't see the point. It's like being a Texans fan and a Cowboys fan, and then some of them, they hate each other. I don't know why, because I like both, so I don't really see it. I don't get it. I don't know. What do you care? One's from Dallas, one's from Houston. Who gives a crap? We're all from Texas. If the Aggies are playing anybody outside of the state, I root for them.
Mm-hmm.
But, Aggie fans, they get real mad,
Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, I do notice that you see like a lot of Longhorn stickers on the back of cars, but I see a lot of like Aggie flags in front of houses, like where like they decorate to show like even at their home.
It's an identity.
Mm-hmm.
It really is an identity. I'm not going to call it a cult because, I have a lot of family. I have to go to Thanksgiving, folks, and I don't want to be like, you're talking about my Aggies, and they get really mad. And I'm like, look, I like you too. I like the Longhorns. I mean, if Texas Tech plays outside of the state, I root for them. I root for Texas across the board, straight up, man. But I have teams I like outside, like the Red Sox and baseball, and of course, the Buccaneers and football. But I don't really understand that kind of mentality. But if you look at how they get, it's like they have a burning, in their soul, hatred for the University of Texas and everything about it. They righteously hate Texas. And they want them to lose every game. They could be playing the former Soviet Union and Nazi Germany, and they would root for them over Texas. I promise you. They don't care. They hate their guts. And it's not I don't care what they say. I've been a fan of both for years, for decades, and it's not the same for Texas fans as Aggie fans. I think they have a perception that they hate them, but I don't really. I work down by the UT campus all year. I don't see anybody wearing a shirt disparaging the Aggies or saying anything. But I see when I was in College Station recently, I saw horns down and this and that, and it was all about hating UT. I really don't understand that. I'm just kind of like, well, I'm in Aggie land. I don't really care. I like the Aggies, so I blend in. I have an Aggie T-shirt and I have an Aggie hat. I have two Texas hats, and actually, I don't even have a Texas T-shirt, but I do have an Aggie T-shirt. So I don't even have a Texas shirt or anything I wear, but I like both. Because, with A&M going to the SEC, I'll root for them. But that's some of these people. There's a show that was being done the other day, and I'm not going to give them any press about it. But it was a screenshot that somebody took of one of our listeners. Iowa State is better than the Longhorns. Well, I think the score yesterday said that statement is untrue. Yeah. But I could tell you this. Like, this comment was made about PRT in their comment section, and I went up there and I said, hey, man, one of my listeners sent me a screenshot, and this person was like, FPRT, blah, 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 blah. The show had nothing to do with us at all. It was really a shame because the guest they had on there was talking about some really cool stuff. They were talking about energy and the transference of it. It was a pretty good show, and it was a big YouTube channel. And my buddy was like, "What is that?" And I said, "That's somebody screenshotted that." Why? And he just laughed and he goes, "I'll take it off." I've never seen this handle before. I don't know who this person, Money Man or something, 97 or some number. I don't know. It was so ridiculous. Why? Money Man, what do you have against me? Money Man, whatever. What do you have against me? Why would you do that? Because you're obsessed with hating us? And they always have some kind of different reason. Well, that guy thinks he's something. He really thinks he's a something. He's an arrogant guy. Yeah. Or one of my conference goers told me that they argued with a guy about how he didn't like me. And they were at another conference. They were at a Bigfoot conference. And he couldn't give them a reason. He was just like, well, I don't like the way he treats people from the Bigfoot community. I'm like, well, what does he do exactly? Well, he just got he's just up there with that, he's got brown hair and, he's got eyes and just, he stinks. I don't like him.
Him and his damn lungs up there.
You ever been in the same room with him? Well, no, but people told me he smells like burning sulfur and brimstone. That's the devil.
I will say
that's not really what he said. But
you've never seen the devil and him in the same room. That's all I'm saying.
And so this woman, she was a woman, and there was her husband. He's just kind of shaking his head while she's telling me, and we're all laughing. I'm standing there, I'm laughing. You know, it's just funny. I mean, you know, I'm sitting there. I think Abe was there, somebody was there, and I think Chris Jordan might have been there. We were just laughing. We were just like, you know, whatever. So this person just had a big old blow up about me because somebody said my name. There's nothing behind it. The guy, I bet you this guy hasn't even heard my show. He probably doesn't know anything about it. All he knows is that people went and said said Josh Turner, bad, naughty man guy, bad man, bad. That's it. Sounds like bad. What is it? Bad down man.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Grab me that Bigfoot witness over there.
But sir.
But sir, he likes Josh Turner. I don't care. Grab me that witness over there. I need to talk to them. I hate this man. Everything they see reminds them of me somehow. Like, you know, they'll see something. Oh, they had a documentary today about World War II. I hate that guy. It was about the Japanese naval fleet. One time, Josh Turner said he had a Japanese naval dirk. Oh, my God. He bombed Pearl Harbor. It was me. Yes, I did it. Then they say, he wears so much gold, he looks like Xerxes from 300. Something wrong with that guy. Leonidas, listen to my show. You just love that. You love to hate. And there is something about that. There's something to people who love to hate, and they love to have something to hate. I tease my Aggie friends all the time, my Aggie colleagues, and you know, Trey Felton, he's a big Aggie guy, and I love Trey, he's a good guy. But so is Larry. Larry, you know, and Larry said some things. I love you, Larry, but I don't know. Some of the things I don't know. I reserve judgment because you're so diehard. You know, you're going to be you know, you don't see it, but I do. I see it, and I think it's just it goes. My cousin Donnie, love the guy. But when it comes to that, he goes so far, it's unbelievable. My friend Joe Watson, I love Joe Watson. He's a good friend of mine from Taylor, Texas. He's a 49er fan, and all he does is post crap about the Dallas Cowboys all day long. And you're like, dude, some of the stuff he posts is funny when it's not just constantly about Dallas. Like, I'll laugh sometimes and be like, that's kind of funny. But then you're like, okay, enough. I mean, what that can't be your whole world. Come on, Joe. Come on, guys. You can't make it your whole world, man. It's got to be more to it. But these people, they can't do it. They can't do it. They can't get past it. And the attacks, they cheer when something goes wrong. If one of us fall over dead, they throw a party. So you know what that means? That makes it hardens my resolve. They shouldn't be on other people's shows when they're talking about science and whatever they were talking about. They were talking about other stuff too, but you go on there and talk about PRT. You see how ridiculous that sounds? I'm flattered that I live in your head, you know. So we had another story that came across our desk, and this one was very odd. I think we talked about it a little bit. It was the Croatian werewolf. We had one called the Serbian werewolf, and so a person had gotten in touch with us and told us a story about a vampire, and I can't remember whether we told it or not. We don't know if it was on the live or whatever, but I'm not going to retell it. So if we didn't actually tell it, well, I guess where's the pity? But it came across our desk, and it was very interesting. It was a werewolf encounter from Croatia. And this guy said, hey, you know, I know you did one that covered a Serbian. This one was on the border, Croatian-Serbian border. A lot of weird stuff went on. And this person told the authorities they didn't do anything. They didn't have any sympathy. They didn't care. They're just like, oh, well, sorry that happens. But one of the things that was weird about that whole story was that they were told by one of the officials that came out to talk to them two things. One, they should shut up and stop talking about it. And the second thing they were told is a lot of people see this and they don't talk about it. Why are you talking about it? It's a normal thing. Is this supposed to be normal now? So this is what's happening in other countries. People are being told, just shut up. Why do you got to talk about it? Why is it a problem? Because it's killing our animals. Well, you're alive. Literally, this is how to get to drink. You drink and then you shut up. Shut up. Shut your mouth. That's it. You should be happy. It not eat you. It only eat the lamb. He hungry. He hungry.
Monsters got to eat too.
Yeah.
One of the things that this guy, the conclusion, and he emailed me again after we had this little conversation. We talked a little bit about it. I know I'm messing with my hair, folks, but it bugs the crap out of me because it's all over the place and it's not fixed. Look at this. What is this? What is this right here? Look at this. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Perfect. Now we got it. Now we're talking. So he's told basically to just stop talking about it. And you know what he told me? He says, I believe it's a person. He goes, my family went through hell. We think it was a person. He's an old guy now. He's old, like me. He's old, whatever. It's buffering again.
Just going to have to roll with it.
So what ends up happening, as soon as we start talking about something, that this happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about authorities and people, or werewolves, people not liking what they're doing, and then blah, 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 something happens. Damn. So here's what happens. His family went through a nightmare. His brother Augustine, his brother Mikhail. He tells me, he's like, dude, I went through a lot of trauma as a young man. And these military people showed up at one point. And then they told me, they're like, it's not bothering you, And why is it a big deal? And his dad was like, well, it was a big deal because it is showing up on our farm. It attacked one of our donkeys, killed our chickens. They had a goose, killed it, took off with 2 of their sheep. That's why it's a problem. And they said, oh, well, the government, this is Yugoslavia at the time. It was Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia was Croatia, Serbia. Of course, everybody knows Kosovo was where the war was. And Macedonia. That was all Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
Now they're all different countries, and it should have all been different countries to begin with. Just like Czechoslovakia, it should have been the Czech Republic and Slovakia, 2 different places. And then they did what they do in the Middle East and in Africa. The Western powers say, you know what we're going to do? You know what would be fun? If we just made the map the way we thought it should look. They're like, yeah, but this is our land and you gave it to them. Yeah, but you know what? That's the fun part. Britain, France, and Spain, huh?
I was going to say, I think they just stood around a table and they were like, okay, let's
did.
just draw a line, guys.
They did.
Let's do it with our left hands, though.
They literally did. And then the Ottomans, they made a map. That's why World War I happened. People don't know why it really happened. I could give you a whole lecture on why it really happened and why it affected World War II and how World War II was fought and why it caused problems for us now. But if I did, they'd throw me in jail. I swear, I'm not joking. They would be like, you're done. So I can't tell you. I could go to, what's it called, Rumble?
Yeah.
And maybe talk about that kind of stuff. I could tell you this. It was by design. The map is all a mess. It's not supposed to be the way it is. And after World War II, Germany got moved over. Poland got moved over. Everything got moved over. And the Soviet Union took a big bite out of everybody's country. And guess what? The West said, well, that's fine. Little Churchill. So such a great guy, right? Everybody loved him. In fact, in the landing, in fact, in the air, I caused the murder of 1,000 people on a ship, and I'm going to have a war so I can redeem myself.
We will never surrender.
Now, when the Soviet Union attacks Poland along with Nazi Germany, I'm going to go after Nazi Germany. And they're like, well, what was that other country that you said? Nazi Germany. Yeah, but there was another one. What was the other one? You said there was another one. Nazi Germany. Yeah, but what was... Shut up. Pretend like that didn't happen. Focus on this pig, not that one. There were two, not one. So, unpopular opinion, Churchill, not my favorite person. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, not my favorite person. There was a lot of bad on both sides. When you look at what happened, though, the maps, the powers that be, they made these maps, and they did it with the Levant, too. The Ottoman Empire had the Levant. And the Western powers, after World War I, they were just like, you know what, we're just going to take a map, let's drink, let's just go. You know, it'd be funny if we create a country, call it Jordan, because of the river. You know, it's not. I was talking to a guy the other day, and I'm like, where are you from? He's Jordanian, right? And he's like, I'm from Jordan. You're Jordanian. Yes, you're Jordanian by nationality, but you're not really Jordanian because there's no such thing. Wow. Shocker. There's no such thing. Just like there's no such thing as a Czechoslovakian, there's no such thing as a Yugoslavian. These countries have their own areas, their own rules, their own laws, their own customs, and then they're just thrown together and told, now you're under the Soviet Union, the boot heel of the communist empire, and you will do what we tell you. And guess what? Now there's an East Germany. Really? There's one Germany. And there's one country called Czech Republic, not Czechoslovakia. And guess what? The Sudetenland actually did belong to Germany. That's what they said. Oh, he was trying to take people's land and all this other stuff. That's not that. Let's just not talk, because if you try to tell the truth about World War II, World War I, history, you go any of it at all. If it doesn't go along this really vanilla party line, well, guess what? People get really upset. That's not what I was taught in school. What you were not taught in school could fill volumes. And I'll be attacked for that. That's not what it says in the King James Version of the Bible. That's because there was a council in the 600s that said, you know what? Just started tearing parts out and throwing it over their shoulder. You don't need this. I don't need this. Oh, you know what? This will confuse them. But we better have the Torah in there because that has the code of Deuteronomy, and we can wage war and kill every living inhabitant on this planet because the Bible right there says we can't. That's why it's left in there, because everything else kind of, no. Jesus is saying too much over here. Let's throw it out. Let's not do that. It's like he never spoke. We'll leave the bare bones minimum in there. How about that? There you go. Because you're not smart enough to figure it out on your own. Let us tell you. And in fact, we'll make a law that you can't even have a Bible, because only we should be reading it. That's what they did. Look it up. Figure it out. But I would use an alternative source. What do you think these creatures are? What do you think happened to the guy in Iraq? Can we go back there? Is that okay, powers that be, if we go back to the Iraqi thing? Is that okay? Are we going to go like Max Headroom because you don't want me to say it? We go back to Iraq. Iraq was once known as Mesopotamia. Now, Iraq should be 4 different countries. They have several different dialects. Did you know that? Raise your hand if you knew that. Why were we in Iraq? What was one of the first places we went, according to some of the U.S. soldiers and their Iraqi allies? Take a guess where they went. In Baghdad. Can anybody tell me? Because at this point, I don't give a crap. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. If they kick me off YouTube, then we'll live the fight another day. We'll go to Rumble. If they kick me off Rumble, I'll go stand out on the street corner. Hear ye, hear ye! The truth being told. I'll be like the guy on Rome. Roman meal bread made for meal Romans. There you go. Ona Pedigo. You look at the brain on you. The museums, Wendy. You know too. Look at that, Brett. I got a smart audience. They went to the museums. Wow. Folks, we got to go quickly. We've defeated the bad guys. Saddam is destroyed. Let's just, you know what? We got to save the museums. They're like, yeah, but sir, there's like death and destruction everywhere. There's people that need assistance. Yeah, I know. Private pile. But the museums need our help.
Well, what about the hospital?
Who cares? The museums, if we take care of the museums, the hospitals will be there when we're done.
But sir, the orphanage.
The orphans will still be orphans when we're done taking care of the museum. Why you got to complicate things with orphans and sick people and, well, people that are unalived? We need to go to those museums and make sure that those artifacts are taken care of. Well, you can't let them fall into the hands of the enemy. They're like, well, they were already in the hands of the enemy, sir. That's why we invaded. Well, that's hearsay. That's what you say. I'm there to protect the ancient history because everybody knows that we here care about that. Right? And we need to go to the libraries. There's no telling what they're telling these people. Democracy needs to kick in. And one smart guy. Can I ask a question about democracy? Our country wasn't really founded on a democracy. Oh, put him in the gulag. Sir, this is America. We don't have gulags. Make one. This guy's over here talking crazy. Get out of here. Go. We don't need you. We don't need no education. Talking all that crazy. Democracy. It's just republic? What are you talking about? We have a constitution that we step on all the time. We just change and amend. This is what you do, right? It's the American way, right? Let's go to the museums after we knock over. It's two aircraft carriers knocked over a fruit stand. We're done. Let's go to the museum. The toot sweet. Let's go and let's raid it. Let's take everything out. Because these savages don't need to have this kind of stuff in those museums. They had weapons of mass destruction. Where were they? I don't know. They were somewhere. When we got there, they had hid them under the sand. Did you look under the sand? No. That might maybe something we find. I don't know. We didn't do it. We took what we needed to take. We end up underground. Bada bing, bada boom. We got a couple dogmen and then a lizard coming through a mirror. Is that what happened? Is that not what happened?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that about sums it up.
Don't listen to this crazy guy on because he's just making up some stuff that it's kind of and he's doing the whatever. And you know what? The Real Housewives marathon and Kardashians' butts, they're on TV. So you should probably go.
Oh, shoot. What am I doing?
And then there's also football and the other guy, Kool-Aid with the other friend. Papa family, dude. Yeah, that's what you should do. Don't be paying attention to somebody on Sunday that's telling you the truth or talking about stuff. And if you're going to do that, then we're just going to mess with it. Guarantee you the show won't be monetized. Oh, well. So what? People will stop donating and eventually he'll go away. Thank you for that donation, Two Shadows. I guess I spoke too soon. I'm the powers that be right now. I'm in character. Why are these people... Jerry Jones, Jim Jones, Alex Jones, Star Jones, whatever he is. He's one of the Joneses. Davy Jones. They don't like it, okay? The bottom line is somebody tells you a story. You take it with a grain of salt, but when you hear the same story over and over again, then you start to wonder, do I take this with a grain of salt? Do I put a dash of curry in there, a little cayenne? Because now it becomes something. I think that there is something to this where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't understand how people can't grasp that. A guy in Croatia is told the same thing that an Iraqi is told. Keep your mouth shut. Why are you rocking the boat? Folks, if you don't think that the same people that run that country, run this country, run the other countries, this shouldn't even be the names of their countries. That shouldn't even be the name of their country. Iraq. What is Iraq? Let's talk about that for a second. I could do a dive on it. Raise your hand in the audience if you even know what Iraq is. They had a war with Iran. Do you know what Iran is?
Persia.
Iraq. That region of Iraq, Mesopotamia. What was it called before that? Do you know?
I just know
You
the
better
Fertile
know.
Crescent.
You're part of the Fertile Crescent. Come on. It was Samaria. It was the land of the Anunnaki kings. That was the hub. That was where they were. There used to be a lush garden there. You know, terrain changes. It wasn't always a desert, just a wasteland. It was a desolate place. They made it that way. Somebody says, I agree, Josh. I've always said the exact same statement. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Yes, Samaria. Thank you, Froetian. Ancient Samaria. Yeah, Anna, I agree with that. Babylon. You had King Nebuchadnezzar, right? Long time ago. But that was recent history. The Stargate Kings, as I call them. They came here from other worlds, but they came through a Stargate. And the people in the Dogman community that are out there running around with boots on the ground, walking through the woods, beating the ground with sticks to try to find this physical Dogman, and then they're gonna go, oh, look at this crazy guy. He's over here talking about Stargates in damn Iraq. He's dumb as hell. He's crazy as hell. Reading books, writing books. People don't know nothing writing books. Watch my show where we throw rocks and pretend it's Bigfoot. Yeah, you're right. You're the guy. You have all the answers, right?
It's more gooder.
It's more gooder. Knocking over Iraq was about spreading democracy, wasn't it? Or it was oil. What is the thing? Oil. Yeah.
They just hate our freedom.
They hate freedom, so we went over there to force it on them.
Donuts and coffee and McDonald's. So they want to kill us all.
They hate that we all get cancer and die at 50. They hate that we go and eat fast food that they look at as garbage. They hate us because they ain't us, right? That's what it is. Let's tell ourselves that. When the next aircraft carrier knocks over a fruit stand, and then we talk about how great it was.
Hey,
it was because of oil, even though Kuwait has way more oil, and so does everyone else.
Don't you know those fruit stands are weapons of mass destruction?
Yeah, oil is not. I'm going to tell you right now, we have enough oil to get us through the next 200 years, just in Texas alone. Did you know that? Wolf Camp, the Gulf Shelf. Texas should be the richest spot in the entire country. But you know what? And I'm a big believer in this. When you put special needs in a class with people who are at a different level, and then you tell them, hey, and I'm not knocking people with special needs. They should have their own class and their own facilities. They want to put them in with regular children. But then everyone else has to slow down because of that. No, that special person needs to have their own special class. Well, we don't have money for that. Why? Because we're giving it to people who shouldn't be here? Is that why? Because that's why. And then guess what happens? Everyone else is dumber for it. Let's slow everything down so that we can pander and cater to a very small minority of people. Because that's how you get production. That's how things get done. And let's lie about everything. Everything. Why we were there. It's just truth. I mean, I'm just telling you the truth. And then let's all pretend like none of this is happening. Because I have a problem with what they're saying these things are, and how the people should not be talking about it. Because if you do, we're going to mess with you. And why? What does it matter? So they killed a few of your livestock. They chased your car. Okay, come on. They're just having fun. They're just having fun. They're just some friends of the Anunnaki having some fun. Come on. This is a good time. Just stop talking about it. They don't like it. And they don't like you knowing what I'm telling you. If you think for a second it can't happen here, what's happened all over the world, well, come on, man. You're not paying attention. What I think is going to happen is there's going to be an uptick in this. Is prevalent. It's already happening right now. And then the more people talk about it, then they're going to be like, okay, now there's too many people talking about this. But if you stand together, they can't stop everybody. The floodgates need to be open so we can all know the truth. They're demanding truth in UFO community, right? But in the cryptid community, paranormal, whatever it is, everybody just kind of, oh well. Let's keep believing in cryptozoology. Cryptozoologists look for hidden, unknown animals. That's what they do. I have colleagues that do that. Folks, I promise you 1,000% Dogman is not an unknown animal. I promise you that is the absolute truth. I would stake everything I own on it. They are not an undiscovered species. And in fact, they know what they are. And they know that they do these things. They attack people. They attack your animals. They destroy things. They absolutely exist. And it's not in people's minds. They really do exist. And they're not an undiscovered animal. My ass. Okay? I'm sorry, they're not. Sorry, not sorry. There are people in this chat who've seen them. I've seen them. Seen one, at least I know of. One, I thought maybe I don't know. I can't say I don't claim those if it's, I can't. But they exist, and they do. And then somebody talks about it, and you know what they're going to do? They're going to lambaste me and make fun, and they're going to joke and laugh. Pay attention to who jokes and laughs and makes fun, because who knows what their agenda is. Take a look. Watch. It's going to be the usual suspects. They need to make a group, and they need to call it the Coalition for Critical Thinking in Dogman, and just mirror the Bigfoot one. So they can sit there and be a nest of vipers and attack anybody that comes in. One person I talked to about that group stood up for them. Thank you, Jitesh, for that donation. I appreciate it. It's greatly needed and appreciated. One person stood up and said something. Oh, there's a bunch of good people over there. He's a nice guy. But I told him, I said, you're the only one that's talking good for them. I beg to differ. I don't think they're good. Now, they stay away from me. I stay away from them. We're not friends. You attack my wife. Can't be friends. Create this Dogman group. And all of you dumbasses go and join that group, and you be in that group. And like I said, you could be butt naked on an island, and when a plane goes overhead, you can all come out and go, and throw spears at them and chunk rocks from your slings.
They can throw an empty Coke bottle at them. Like the gods must be crazy.
They can throw the bottle back. Give it back. We don't want this. Why did you give us this bottle?
Is that another super chat from Jitesh?
No, I think that's the same one, isn't it? The
No,
Jitesh?
no,
No.
it's another
Oh,
one.
come
That's
on,
the
man.
third
Dude,
one,
that's like your third one.
I hope you're
Yeah, dude.
independently wealthy. Kate Hunter, 200.
Hey,
Thank you
holy
so
crap.
much, Kate.
It's
I
not a
appreciate
competition, guys.
that. We're going to
appreciate
need
it.
this because we're probably going to get kicked off the air after tonight. So
Yeah, this is it.
I did everything, but talk about things. We probably be on Rumble next week, folks, because it's going to be. We have to go there anyway because I love you, YouTube. I think YouTube is great, but you get to a certain point, you can only talk about so much, and then you have to go, play big boy. Because if you're going to talk about stuff, you might as well talk about stuff. If you're going to look crazy, you might as well look crazy, right? Because I'm crazy. Because there's a lot of things I wish I could tell you, and if I were to talk to you in person, I probably would. I pat you down, make sure you're not recording me first. My Secret Service people, Tony and Anthony and Zane. I'm going to tell you something, folks. Thank you for that donation, Larry. We appreciate it. That's Larry from the other night. He was on the show. See, folks, real people, real people. What this guy in Croatia went through, I wouldn't wish it on anybody because guess what they did? When his dad complained for the third time, you know what they did to him? Take a guess. Can anybody guess? Raise your hand if you think you know what they did to him. They put him in jail. First time they put him in jail. They'd put him more than once. The country of Yugoslavia, whatever, the magistrates of that particular region of the country of Croatia, which was inside of Yugoslavia, which it never should have been. It wasn't really supposed to be a country. And they put him in jail. And then they said, we're only going to put you in jail for 72 hours this time, but if you continue to be a bad boy and talk about dog man creatures attacking stuff, get a new job. Stop farming, you kulak. Get a hot dog stand or some crap. I don't know. Do something else. Do something else. Move away from there. So he's in jail. He gets out of jail after 3 days, right? It's not so bad. You go to jail for a little while, right? Just a little trip to jail. 3 days, he comes out. Guess what? One of these things comes back to his house. He shoots it. 2 in the chest. It falls backwards. Jumps around, and guess what they told me? This is what they told me. Well, the one brother. He said there was smoke coming out of its chest. There was a hole that went through this creature's chest. He said right above where its heart should have been, which would be like, and it went through. There was a hole. You can see, and it smoked. This thing was smoking like it was on fire. It goes backwards, it crawls backwards, and then it flips around, He said, you know what he said? He said it would look like a spider flipping around. Does that sound like a natural creature to you? That's something does that sound natural? Does it sound normal?
You don't see that every day?
Yeah, every time something happens, you see that, right?
I just came from HEB. I think they were...
I saw a dog the other day turn its legs backwards and then flip itself around like a transformer and run. And I was like, you know what? Our dogs are so funny.
Yeah, Banjo was just crawling on the wall.
They look like spiders.
Yeah.
How can you miss that?
Maybe they were tweaking.
They're going to feel that when they come down. So what ended up happening? Here come the authorities again. And they're like, you don't listen. We told you to stop. He goes, this thing was trying to attack my son. I shot it. And it ran off with a hole in its chest. So the authorities decide to take him to jail, but this time he goes to jail for a month. They're like, we told you once before. Confiscated his gun. He was supposed to have a gun. And you know what they did? Just to make sure, right, because he's a communist, just to make sure that everybody understood where they were coming from, they went to each farm, neighboring farm, and they confiscated anything that could have been used as a weapon.
Jeez.
Anything with a sharp edge. But, if you're a farmer, you need sickles and because they're not using modern tools. The nice people that they were, the Yugoslavian people, the government, not the people that belonged to the Soviet Union, one of the most evilest, corrupt things that's ever existed in this era. So what they did, they go and they confiscate everybody's weapon. A few people had guns. Some of them fought.
Give it a second again, everybody.
This says live stream is offline. Yeah, Jim Bob, I sure did. This is going to be a rough one. I can tell you this, though. That'll show you. That'll teach you. So when he gets out, his neighbors, they had already gone to his farm and they had bullied his kids and him and had told him, his wife, whatever. You're going to pay for us having to suffer. Ultimately, they left the farm. Still own it, but they don't live there. This is what happens. This is what the governments do when you ask them for help. Because guess what? They know that these things exist. Thank you for that donation. We appreciate it. They know they exist and they don't give a crap. They do not care. If you think for 1 second they're going to help you, oh my gosh. They create the problem and then they give you a worse solution. Does that sound familiar? That's what they do. I guarantee you they know what these things are. They know exactly what they are. It's not for you to know. And these things came back, and I say things because when they came back, there was more than one. There were two of them. And they tried to get into their house. 2 days after his dad went to jail, these young men, they had to fight these things off. With no weapons. They had sticks, basically a fire poker is all they had left. They'd hit it. And they were punching and kicking and stabbing at these things with what they had, with what the makeshift sticks with points to get them out of their freaking house. I'm going to say something, folks. If you think for 1 second that you're, wherever country you live in, if you think the government of said country gives a crap or that they're going to try to protect you from these things, you're out of your freaking mind. They'll come to you. And then when it gets up to somebody higher up, then they're going to have a problem with you because you're talking about them. And it's okay as long as people just think, oh, this guy's just crazy. He's not really. There'll come a time, trust me, when people take it more seriously, and then we'll see what happens. But I can tell you this. I believe that the governments of this world, they all know about these things and they don't give a crap what they do to you. And some of it may even be sanctioned. You think I'm joking? And when it does happen to you, what are you going to do? You're going to be like, did you see the sign in the yard? It says that I believe in science, sir. It says I don't believe in God and I am an atheist. That sign tells me everything. I believe in science and facts and evidence. You don't exist, Mr. Werewolf. I don't believe you exist.
Well, I don't believe in your sign.
And if you read that sign, you would know you're not welcome here because you're imaginary. Get out of here. You might as well put up a sign that says, eat at Joe's. And you're Joe. Guess who's coming to dinner? And there are people that will argue that these things won't hurt you. Oh, I went out into the woods and I went around, banging on the woods sticks, whatever, right? Whatever they do. Walking boots, ground, whatever. And guess what? Nothing happened. Dogman and Bigfoot did not attack me. In fact, the big, furry, friendly forest creatures like me a lot. We're friends. No, you're not. You may be their friend. but they're not your friend. Do you understand how that works? Because I know a lot of stupid people. I used to work with a couple people, and they were like, "Yeah, there's that guy. He likes me. He's my friend." And the whole time, the guy's talking behind his back. Every time we went to the break room, and you couldn't tell this guy because if you told him, you said, "Hey, you know what? He really doesn't like you." "Oh, I'm going to run and tell him you said that." Then you're going to get into a fight with that guy. So me and my brother just sat there and we're like, "Man, what a dumbass." I even watched the guy cheat on him with his girlfriend, cheat on his girlfriend. But if you told him, he would be like, "That's my friend." How embarrassing. And to be that clueless. But guess what? When you are that clueless, you look that stupid. So you can point the finger at me and say that I'm crazy and that I'm full of whatever, I'm this and I'm that. But I'm the one that's trying to help you, and I'm telling you this. We're all sitting here trying to tell you this is what we know. And if you choose to be the guy that defends, well, that's on you. Because that's not reality. And reality is going to bite you in the ass real hard. Big Brother doesn't care about you. Doesn't give a crap about you. But it wants to know every single thing you do. And if you think that AI is going to fix some problems, oh boy, it's not. And it's one step ahead of everybody, even Big Brother. You watch what happens in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Watch. The world as we know it's going to change. And these dummies, they're promoting it. They're helping it. These people that use the AI to make their stories, these people that use AI for all this crap, and they think it's cute and it's funny, and they're making books with it. They're writing books with this stuff. I am a massive brand. Yeah, you're full of crap. You're AI, and you're supporting it. Supporting it. One of my really, really good friends, and I will not say his name, we used to work together. His girlfriend cheated on him every day with the maintenance guy. My nephew, he was like, "We should tell him." And I said, "No, we shouldn't." And Zane, he was like, "Well, Uncle Wolf, why not?" I said, "Because when you do, he's no longer going to be your friend." He's like, "Well, you should tell him." I said, "In due time." He has to see it for himself. Because I'm going to tell you, when a man loves a woman, well, he don't believe shit you say. He could catch her probably red-handed and then try to justify it. Well, they were playing Twister. She was doing yoga with that guy. That was her gym instructor. There has to be something going on. It was an accident.
It was a rock
They
bottom.
fell on top of each other. I don't know what's going on, but I'm very confused right now. And you're like, "I told you." Their clothes, it got really hot. You know, the song, "It's getting hot in here. Let's take off all our clothes." That's what happened. They took off the clothes because they were hot, and the window didn't open. And they were playing games, and stuff got carried away. And I forgive her. I love her, man. I've seen guys do the stupidest. I mean, they're so stupid. Guys are stupid. Guys are dumb. Guys will do things like, and that's how you are. You're the guy that's that stupid. I'm telling you. A guy, let me tell you something, ladies. I'm going to tell you something funny. If you think it's funny, if you don't, you don't. But this is what I'm going to tell you. This has everything to do with what we're talking about, too. Don't think it doesn't. I had a guy who's a friend of mine. He says, "Hey, man, hey, bro, I'm finna go meet this girl up the road." Up the road. Like we're in downtown Austin. Are you gonna meet her by the courthouse or something? No. She lives in Georgetown. Georgetown's like 28 miles from here. "Yeah, bro, I got to go. So I can't. I was like, "Dude, you got my medication in your truck." "You know what? I'm gonna leave it on the corner of 6th and Sanjak." 6th and Sanjak. There's 1,000 people running around down there. Anybody could grab it and take it or whatever. "Hey, bro, you know what? I'm gonna be a real friend. I'm gonna stick it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put it in the back behind the club by the trash." And then he took off. I'm on Lavaca. And Tony, you know, if I'm fifth in Lavaca on a Saturday night and he puts it behind, how long is it going to take me to walk over there? In those big old crowds. These are the kind of things guys would do for a girl. A guy would leave his best friend who needed his inhaler to live. He could need his inhaler to live. He could be like, I'm diabetic. If I don't get my insulin, I'm going to die. And he would go, damn, bro. We got to figure something out. Look, how far are you? I'm about 3 blocks. If I don't get my insulin, I'm going to die. Okay, I'm going to throw it out the window, and you hitchhike. You hitchhike over there, and you look for it on the ground, trying to run it over. I'm going to go with this girl. This is the kind of stuff guys would do. Dead serious. Guys they do not care when it comes to a girl. They will throw their own mother. They'd be like, their mom could be disabled in the car with them, and they'd be like, look, my girl wants me to come over. Mom, can you get out? She's like, we're in San Antonio and she's in Austin. I know. It's gonna be expensive Uber. I don't know what you're gonna do, but you know, go check out the Alamo for a little while you wait for the Uber. That's what they'll do.
Yeah, I mean, your friend could literally be like, "I'm dying," and you'd be like, "I'll dig a grave for you right after."
As soon as I'm done with this girl,
your
I
grave
will
is coming.
dig that grave for you, and I will say some nice stuff at your funeral because that's how it goes. That's how some people are. Government is mommy. It's mommy, daddy. Mommy, daddy. Government won't do that. My government good. In fact, I'm going to keep voting for the same crap that we've been voting for because that's how it works. I'm going to leave my state because it sucks. And I'm going to come to your state and I'm going to turn it into my state. What do you think of that? Oh, you don't like it? You Nazi. I would expect nothing less from a bigot that believes in werewolves. That's what happens. Straight facts. Miguel says, love you, Josh, Anthony, and Mushu, and all the PRT family. Tonight's show is point and mic dropping. But this is what happens. And I got really aggravated because I'm sitting here and I'm listening to people tell me stories about things that they can do nothing about. And not only do they get laughed at by this so-called community that we supposedly have here and rejected by these other YouTubers. One guy told him, you know what? That's a story for Josh Turner. He'll take your outlandish story. He came to me and I said, absolutely, I'll take your story. Been friends ever since. I don't need to sensationalize or make up or add to anything people say. What they tell you is weird enough. And if these other podcasters and YouTubers would do a little hustle and a little work and do some real work, well, they could get them too. But it's so much easier to just push a button and have a story told for you, isn't it? Well, I bust my ass talking to 20 people from Monday to Saturday. And you just go and zap give me a story about a girl and a guy and a werewolf in the parking lot, and boom, and there it is. And then whatever they do, I don't know what they tweak it or whatever they do with their shameless, fraudulent asses. Don't talk to real people because there's not enough real stuff out there going on. Let's just make up some crap through AI. Fun with artificial ignorance. The joke's on you. Like and subscribe. How about not? Because regardless of what you do or what you say or how you spin it or how you twist it, you're not playing Twister. No, sir. You took your clothes off and you got in bed. That's what you did. And don't be that dumb guy that makes excuses for what happened. Don't be that guy. My girl would never do that. And I'm not a big fan. Is it DMX? What does he say? I love my baby mama. I never let her go.
I'm not sure on that one.
Is that him? I don't know rappers or whatever. I just know that song they played at the gym all the time. You know, y'all gonna make me lose my mind. I used to make fun of that song. I'd be like, y'all gonna make me get thrown out up in here. You're gonna make me get beat up in here, up in here. Because they would play that song and everybody would act stupid at the club. And then I would just walk by and be like, don't get any ideas. Because in my bar, well, it's always hammer time.
This is the salty platoon.
Don't think about you're going to lose your mind up in here, because when you lose your mind up in here, then you're going to be thrown out up in here. You're going to make me lose my teeth up in here, up in here. But I like the one verse where he says he's talking about these guys with their girls or whatever. I love my baby mama. I never let her go. He's making fun of them because they're that stupid. But don't be that stupid. Don't be that guy making excuses for everything. You tell somebody about the moon landing. Oh, man, that's a hard one. That's a tough one, isn't it? No. That video got reported over and over again. You could have Buzz Aldrin saying it didn't happen. You could have Stanley Kubrick saying he faked it. Oh, that's that's disinformation. That's fake news. That's no, we were there. We went there. Yeah, it definitely happened. Yeah, and then they called Earth on a regular phone, a landline phone. You know what would really happen in real life if that really happened? The call would be like this: "Get us out of here. We can't breathe." And they would float up into the air, and then they would explode. Why did you shoot us here? We have no way back. Even children know now. This is like, but yet there's people that still believe. Those are the special people. You don't put them in class with the other people. They have their own class. Come on, little trooper. We're going to take you down the hall. You need to be in this class. Where all the other kids there, though, will be smarter than you. They have special needs. It's what happens. Or what should be happening. If you put enough dumb people into circulation with the smart people, well, guess what happens? Do you think that they're going to raise the dumb people up? Do you think that's what's going to happen? You have a comment on that?
Yeah, no.
No, I mean, it's pretty obvious what happens.
That was my comment. No, they're not going to raise up the dumb people.
Yeah.
The standards are just going to get lowered so that the dumb people can compete.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, even I think weren't certain physical tests in certain branches of the military lowered now so that other people could pass.
It's not just the branches of the military; it's police, fire department, army. I mean, all the it's crazy how instead of letting the best succeed, we instead try to make it to where if you're good enough, and that's good enough, and that's obviously incorrect because it leads to lackluster. It leads to lackluster improvement or lackluster just work ethic and lackluster ability to work and ability to do your job correctly when you're not being pushed to be the best you could be so that you could get the job which would show that you are the best. And it's all about just if you're good enough, as long as you can pass a certain level, and if you can't get to that certain level, we'll try to figure out a way to make it so that you can.
Yeah, Kyle French says schools being dumbed down too.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in school in Texas, when I was a kid, we used to have a state test.
TASP test.
Yeah, first it was called the tax test, and then it was called the TOS test. They kept changing the acronym for whatever stupid reason. But every year we would have to take this test, and me and all the normal kids, we would just breeze right through it. A+. It's nothing. I mean, like the stuff on that test was like at least 3 grades below the grade that we were in.
Oh yeah.
But we had to waste our time taking this test every year so that the dumb kids could have something that would like pad their grade. Like, oh, they failed everything else, but they passed the tax test and they passed the TOS test with a C, which if they had a brain they would get an A+ on. I don't know. Like, the point is, that's how it worked. That's how it would work. To answer your
Yeah, it
question,
didn't matter what they did, what else they did, as long as they passed that goofy thing. You could be the dumbest person on earth.
Well, then it also led to our schools, instead of teaching you and just teaching you things you want to learn about or teaching you a subject, they're entirely focused on teaching you how to pass that task test. Making sure that you know exactly how to answer the bubbles
they'd waste our time going over a bunch of basic crap. So
when I was in school, the dumb kids got dodgeballs thrown at them.
Yeah, we don't play dodgeball anymore.
Now it's you can't do it. You can't do anything physical at all.
No.
You got spanked too. You got pulled out. I got beat, man. Sometimes I deserved it, but not most of the time. It was just ridiculous. I can understand why they stopped corporal punishment. I mean, it was teachers. They're sadistic teachers. They were literally like, "Hey, let's just go be a teacher so we can beat the hell out of somebody's kids." Just like there's police officers or corrections officers, even worse. They become that so they can do that, but not all of them. Not everybody's that way. I'm not saying that all police are bad. I have a lot of cop friends, and I have friends that are corrections officers. I have friends that are teachers, but they themselves, they're the ones that told me that, yeah, that happens. And there was this one cop who was telling me, we worked in L.A. Imagine that. And he trained this guy, and he was like, he told the higher ups, this guy's a sociopath. I mean, this guy's going to do something, and he did. He told them, like, this guy's going to do something, and it happened. Because there are people who go out there to do that. There are people that go to war so they can kill. The people that they do things, they go become teachers so they can abuse. They find these niches. You know what I mean? People who do things to children, they do things so they can be around children. It's like they're whatever. That's what they do. Like, and then they get patted on the back. I love to be around kids. I bet you do. Yeah. I can tell you that right now. I'm sure you do love children. I'm sure you love being an officer. And one guy was bragging at the gym to us about being a corrections officer and how he beat up the inmates. And I'm not impressed. I'm sitting there going like, wow. They did something wrong to be there. But damn, dude, I mean, you're over here bragging about how you beat them up and stuff, and then I'm supposed to, he kicked one of them in the face or something, and I'm just like, dude, that doesn't impress me at all. You got a bunch of people that can help you in a gang, basically, just to beat these guys up. Yeah, some of them are surly, and they got attitudes, and they're nasty people, and they're doing time for a reason. But sometimes people are just in there, and they know they did wrong, and they're bad, and they did bad, or they're putting time out, but then you abuse them. But God doesn't look kindly, and I don't speak for God, but for people that abuse people, come on, you got to do better than that. I mean, come on, that's just. But there are preachers. There are people who pretend to preach the word of God, and they get millions of people to follow them, and they get millions of dollars to just BS. And this is a very short life. So when your time is up, can you sit there and say that you were a good person, that you did right by everybody? Because this life is short, man. This is a very short life. I feel bad for people who don't accept the truth, who they just do not want to accept it. They can't hear it. They don't want to hear it. And it's horrible because there's so many people out there, good people, doing real work, doing good work, and they get overlooked and ignored for the flashy BSer. That's the one that gets the attention. And then Psychology 101, let's say that person's doing all the things that you're doing. Let's go, okay, I'm doing all these, horrible things. Well, I'm just going to say he's doing it. I'm being racist. No, he's racist. I'm using fake AI. He's using fake AI. And they just mirror everything. They just bounce back and mirror everything you do and say, I just went through it. Or maybe I'm going through it. I don't know. It's kind of a lull right now. Or I don't know. All quiet on the Western Front for now until they open up another salvo on you. But that's what they do. And then everybody's got to make up their mind who's being honest. And a lot of times, the honest person doesn't win. Well, I'm for one, I'm tired of that. I, for one, am really sick and tired of that, of the honest truth people getting the shit into the stick. Sorry for cussing, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just sick of it. I'm really disgusted, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of these people doing what they're doing and everybody thinking it's a big joke. And when someone comes forward and says, this is what happened to me, like Brian, the Tuesday show about the MK Ultra. Well, I don't know if you call it MK Ultra, but that's what it was. And then you got people that pretend, like the one that Garitano was telling us about. I'm not going to say his name. But, that empty can rattles the most, whatever. But then your enemies go, he's the loudest in the room, so whatever. Why? Because you're always the loudest. So I had to yell over you to be heard. Because I don't know about you people, but I'm sick and tired of it. I'm tired of the bull crap. I'm tired of the BS. I'm tired of wading through the rivers of garbage. I think it's time that we all stand up collectively and say we want real. We want better. We want more from our lives than just getting up every day and working 9 to 5, or the opposite, which is I do is the opposite. I got to go work tonight when I get out of here. If you can believe that. Sucks. And then I got to try to find time to go to the gym because this fat ain't going to remove itself. I've tried yelling at it and telling it to go very sternly many times, and it just doesn't budge. I'm like, get off! Get off! And I try. I scream at it. I've tried the California way and thrown money at it. I threw money at it. It just bounced right off. It didn't do anything. Nothing's working. Nothing's working. Somebody tried to say, well, you should probably eat less. I'm like, that'll never work. Get out of here with that. That's the most... Mm-hmm. I hate when people try to tell me that, okay? I'm talking about real solutions, folks, okay?
It's really just rude.
Just eat less, move more.
Eat less, move more. I've heard all that. That'll never work. Sounds complicated. Look at Mike Turner showing up late. Shame on you, Mike. You missed all the ranting. Let me tell you something. There is no easy solution. You know what you do to lose weight or to get in shape or to sculpt your body or to make your arms look bigger? Okay. That's a little for the ladies there. Look, see? I'm kind of a big deal. I got big arms. It's a little eye candy for you ladies. So arrogant. I'm sorry, folks.
They're going to be like, he was trying to seduce married women.
I was just about to say.
He was trying to seduce the women.
He was trying to get our wives. Folks, no. For real. If you want that, okay? People tell me at the gym, there was a guy, he says, how do I get bigger calves? Your calves look like bowling balls. I said, be fat and walk around. And the calves will just pop out because you got to carry your big fat ass. And he started laughing. He was like, well, I'm not fat. He's not fat at all. Big red-haired guy. I said, dude, you don't just, that's the only thing you're worried about is your calves. You look like, Hercules. Are you worried about calves? Society puts such a emphasis on certain parts of your body. I can tell you this. What you need to do is it's going to suck. There's no easy answer. You got to eat right And you gotta exercise. That's all you can do. I mean, if you don't do that, you're not going to get to where you need to be. And I tell people all the time, they're like, what supplements can I take to do better for this and do better for that? And I'll tell them, and they'll go, oh, I'm not drinking that. Celery juice tastes terrible. And I'm like, well, then you'll have that problem.
I'm not lifting weights. That stuff's heavy.
I'm trying to be a star athlete. I'm not trying to be the best at working out. You know, that's the problem. Or they'll be like, I'm not training for the Olympics. I'm trying to go to Whataburger. Well, then you're going to be a Whataburger. You're going to look like one. That's what's going to happen. There's no easy solutions. Thank you for that donation, Solvino. Steroids and testosterone. One of the gyms I go to, 100% sure that there are people there who are not on the up and up when it comes to supplements. It was a funny conversation I witnessed the other day, and one guy was talking to a big dude. This was a young guy, and he was talking to an older big guy. And he's like, man, what exercises do you do to get like this and that? And then the guy's over there like, well, you know, I get over there on the squat and I put my car up there and I squat it once. And then I go to the bench press and I take a horse and I bench him up there and I throw him out of the way. And then I leave. And I'm like, golly gee, mister, you don't take supplements to get bigger? Yes, I do, little Johnny. I'm like, actually, my name is Wolf. Whatever, Johnny. I'm going to tell you like this. I'm John Wayne. Mixed with Arnold Schwarzenegger, mixed with Zeus. I'm all natural. Can you see the veins popping out of my arms and my neck and my head and my eyeballs? It's all natural. I'm so vascular. I don't take anything. I go home and I drink a cup of water and I go to sleep. It's all genetics. That's why you can see my heart beating through my, yeah. Mm-hmm. I have such little fat on my body. You can see my organs. I'm like, gee, that's awesome. I can't wait to reach that level of nirvana, to be that vascular. No, it's called illegal use of supplements, if you want to call them that, to get that way. Taking things that are made for horses. And then their head, the protruding jaw, they're like.
You got like the caveman eyebrow
yeah.
slumps down, and then
here we go.
And the forehead's protruding.
Oh, we're still around. Maybe you should do some research, Geico.
They look like the Great Khali.
And I can't help it. There's times when you see them and they're doing things, they're lifting like a truck worth of weight, and I go over. I'm in my late 40s, you know, and I'm doing moderate amount of weight, but I'm doing a lot of reps. And there was this guy the other day, and Anthony, you remember this? He goes over there and he starts doing these. They pull in front of me. He's all like, "This guy, I'm doing twice of his weight." I can't help it. I'm just like, I'm laughing because I'm like, dude, I'm doing a quarter of what I can do because I'm doing it 60 times. So I can take what you're doing and do it 20 times. So sometimes you got to do it. Then they just scoff and walk away. It's always playtime for these people. That's who these people are. That's the same guy that's going to go, my girlfriend didn't do that. That's the same guy that's going to make fun of you and say that Dogman isn't real and maybe you should just shut up and be a good little taxpayer and just do what you're supposed to do. Why rock the boat? Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. These are people, if that's what they care about, think about it. Think about it. If that's what they care about is the superficiality. I don't even know if that's a real word. I just made up that word. You don't need to aspire to be that. You know who you are. You know what you are. You know what's real. You know how you have a brain. Use it. The system wants everyone to be that guy, but actually don't work out. Look for shortcuts. Take something that's illegal so that you can get the shortcut. And then we have a reason to throw you in jail. Or you'll go through another form of indoctrination, just like you did in school. Go and ask your parents what they did and how they survived. But only if they've been educated and indoctrinated. Then they're the village that can tell you. It takes a village to teach you. But whatever you do, God forbid, whatever you do not self-educate. And you know that they're changing information. I talked about this the other day with Garrett Tyne. We were talking about this. They're changing the information. When you go and you look it up on the web browsers, that's not accurate anymore. You think I'm joking? Find books that were written books. Young people don't know anything about this. They don't even comprehend it. My audiences, they know. Go find books that were written 10, 20 years ago, whatever. Real books, not written by the system's technological terror. And read them. Read copious amounts of books, because that's what I did. Somebody asked me the other day, she said, how many books do you think you've read? I don't know, 1,000, 2,000? I don't know. Anthony, Tony, what do you think? How many books have I read?
I haven't over the course of your lifetime. I have no idea.
Alexandria?
Since you guys have known me.
I just remember you had this huge list of books.
Your list of books that you read was like several pages front and back. So I never counted them, but it was like a packet.
See, when I read a book in its entirety, I would write it down. I would type it down and put it on a piece of paper, and I just kept it as so I could go back and reference it. But I only did it if I read a book in its entirety. So there's 1,000 books that I didn't finish or that I jumped around on. I'm not telling you this because I want you to think, oh, that guy's smart. No, dude, no. Listen to what I'm telling you. Go do it. You can do the same thing I do. I'm not Superman. I didn't have the best genetics in the world. I hate that. They're like, well, you were born with that. That's why you're blah, 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 whatever. Yeah, maybe. So what? You can do it too. Nobody's left out. Go read. Educate yourself. Learn both sides of any conflict. I encouraged everybody during this thing, go look into both parties. Look, read. Pay attention. Get the truth. Everybody needs to educate themselves, whether you want to hear about Dogman, Bigfoot, alien abduction, ghosts, whatever it is, then read about what you want to know about. And read a bunch of different people's opinions and their thoughts on these things. There are now Soviet-released archives where they're telling the truth. Poor woman, she's a good friend of mine. I hate to say it. I'm not going to say her name. But Anthony was there, and she's from East Germany, and she said, I read the Soviet or the archives in Berlin of all the bad things that the German people did and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, listening, I'm going like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And who wrote that? Who wrote that? Those things were written by Soviets and Soviet collaborators. Just like the Germans did the same thing before they lost. They had a big library, too, of all the bad things that the other people were doing. There's not just one bad guy, folks. World War II was a bunch of bad guys fighting each other. Did you know that? You had bad guy Germany, bad guy Russia, bad guy us, 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 whatever. You had bad guy Britain, you had bad guy France, bad guys all fighting bad guys. And the bad guys won, and the bad guys lost. But there are some people who believe, like I said, America, mommy, daddy. Mama, Daddy would never do that. They never did anything wrong. All we did was spread democracy. That and the flag and the baby Jesus. No. That's not what happened. Bunch of bad guys because they all ran the world, and then they said, well, these bad guys are going to fight these bad guys, and then the winner's going to be the bad guys. And then we're going to just mark up the world and make it, the way we want it to be. And that's what they did. Now we're going to go into underground bases and tunnels and all kinds of neat little things, and we're going to interact with the inner earth people, things, whatever come across. Well, it happens. And then we have these weird-looking wolf-like creatures that are going to eat you and your livestock. And if you complain about it, well, then guess what? That's a problem. Lizard people, well, that's just fantasy. That's science fiction, isn't it? Because we told you it was. Because we made fiction movies about it. So if you talk about it, you got that from a fiction movie. Also, we sort of weirdly believe that it alleviates us from any sort of karmic debt. Well, guess what? It doesn't. Yes, Jim Bob, war is a racket. That's true. Read about the Krupps. You know that they funded both sides of World War II. One of the 6 families. Yep. There's a whole lot of stuff there going on. But at the risk of saying too much and being labeled something bad, I'm not going to say anything else. I've taken you as far as I can take you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. On the YouTube wagon. Sorry there, little Jimmy. But that's a no-go zone. Why is that? You don't see all those lizard people with guns pointed at us? Oh, yes, I do. Yes, exactly. Pay attention, dummy. We can't go into that territory. Nope. That's about as far as we can go on the tube of you. So, folks, sorry for the rant, but not sorry. Needed to happen. And I'm sorry to people that have to go through the nightmares that they have to go through with these beings, friends of our masters, our bosses, their overlords. You know, there is a being. I'm going to say this. Anybody knows Jim Morrison? Knows who he is, knows what he was. The Lizard King. I'm not a big fan. I never liked him. I don't like his music much. I don't really. The Doors. The Doors says it all in the name. When he would sing, they would say that he would almost like go into a trance and like become another person. Dun, 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 they do, you know the lyrics, right? Break on through to the other side. Yeah, he was being honest. Lizard King. Listen to the lyrics. You know what's even more telling about these people? Is that they sing those lyrics to you, and they tell you exactly what they are and what they're doing. And you don't even get it. People are sitting there just spouting off these lyrics, and they don't even know what they mean. And then, you know what they'll do? They'll go and they'll read the lyrics. They'll be like, that's not what that says. The official lyrics say this bullshit. Oh, okay. But when he sings it, though, that's not what he's really saying, though, is it?
Well, it's like Stairway to Heaven was backmasked.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say what the singer says on there if you play the song backwards, but talking about the devil, basically worshiping him and adoring him.
Well, yeah, because it's Stairway to Heaven. So if you go backwards, what is it?
Yeah.
It's like Slayer. On Slayer, it says on and on south of heaven. And people are like, oh, that song's about hell. No, it's not. That song is about earth. What is south of heaven? What is directly south of heaven? Earth, this plane of existence. Hell is south of us, right? And then he says all these bad things that are happening, and he says on and on south of heaven, and people are like, they made the mistake. When I was a kid, everybody was like, that's a song about hell. We went to the Christian church school, and they were like, this album has a song about hell. And oh my gosh, let me tell you a story. I was like 10 years old. I raised my dumb hand like the ignorant little kid that I was. And I'm like, Brother Jim, that song's actually about Earth. He's like, shut up. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. I should shut up. Let me be more stupid. Because that was encouraged. That was encouraged. You know what else was encouraged? I brought a book about dinosaurs to school. They threw it in the trash. B. Dalton books cost me $14. My parents, anyway. Got it for Christmas. I was so proud of it. I love that book. I'm not joking. I mean, I get emotional thinking about it.
In the 80s for a working class.
They threw it in the
parents,
trash.
$14 a book.
$14, a big old thick book about dinosaurs. It was huge. And I adored it. I looked at it and I read it all through Christmas vacation. I come to school and I show my friends, Mrs. Willard, I'll take that, and threw it right in the trash. And when I went to try to get it out, she started tearing the pages out of it. Oh, my mom had a conniption fit over that one. What does it matter? I didn't get it back. When we went to Austin again, which was once in a blue moon, Walden Books. I don't know if anybody remembers Walden Books, B. Dalton Books. I spent a lot of time there as a kid. That's where I like to go. It was my happy place. It wasn't there. Because dinosaurs are of the devil. The devil put the bones there for you to be deceived. The world is 5,000 years old. Shut up. My ass. These are the people. That's the alternative. That's the alternative to what we're being. It's either communism or you be taught this. Wake up, folks. Use your brain that God gave you. Use common sense. Pray for discernment. Education is not intelligence. Exactly. Walden Books, my happy place. Also, yeah. Susan says that's where I did book signings for my book. I love that place. You wrote a book, Susan. We should talk about it. You should put the name of it on there where we can get it. I'm telling you right now, man. Joe Breezy says Jim Morrison talks about dog men and women in his book. Oh, dude, I'm telling you, these singers that everybody adores so much, a couple of big names in the pop music industry. They're everywhere. There are a couple. Big Moloch worshipers. One of them always looks like he has big wads of cotton in his mouth. Every time I see his ugly face, he looks like that dude, the what's his name, Beetlejuice from Howard Stern. He looks like him. Every time I see his face, he's at a football game or a basketball game. Look, I just want to take him and turn his head around backwards. You're an ass. Take a look at it. Sick and tired of these people. And then all these people thanking God, and they're like, they're thanking God. Okay, sheeple, they're thanking their God. Did they say his name? No, because it's Moloch, the child eater, the Canaanite god. I can't even tell you the verse because I don't even want to get in trouble, but I will tell you this. Go to 2 Timothy, Temple of Remphan. That's all I'm going to say. I won't go any further than that because I don't want to tempt fate. Look at the symbols. You think I'm joking. If I told you everything I know, I promise you, and you really heard what I said and you were taking it in and listening to what I said, you would have to rethink a lot of things in your life. And I don't know if you're ready for that, because if you listen to my show from beginning to end, every show, whether it's a pre-recorded or whatever, there's always a theme, but then there's always there's another theme that runs through it, through the whole thing, and then there's an overarching theme. Find it. Figure it out. Because the answers are there. Okay? Let him who hath understanding reckon the number. It's a human number. It's a group of people's number. They parade it around in front of you. It's a symbol. That's all I can tell you. Folks, be well. I love you. Good night. I hope that the powers that be don't dispose of me. But if they do, then you just know it's true. All right? I'm going to quote a movie I like, 300. I was making a joke about being Xerxes earlier, but let's be a Leonidas for a minute here. And he tells his people, he says, well, they want to meet with you, right? They tell him, they go to Leonidas and they say they want to meet you. And he says, one of his lieutenants, he's like, well, what if they try to kill you? And he goes, pray that they're that stupid. Because then if they kill me, then all of Sparta goes to war. So when they do these things, it backfires. There's people every day today, still to this day, questioning Kennedy assassination. I know exactly what happened. 100% I know. I tell people in private, I'll tell them this is exactly what they did. And then they disgraced Nixon because Nixon made the mistake, and a lot of people don't know this, and you won't know this if you don't research it. He wanted to know. And then he's like, we need to audit the feds. Where's the gold from Fort Knox? They're like, what? They all got that little rascal look on their face. What? Did this dude just wake up? Look, we made you president, bro. Why are you messing with stuff? Why do you want to know what happened to him? Who? Don't worry about that stuff, dick. Okay? Just be happy you're president and stuff. And there was one guy in particular. They talk like this. Yeah, I think you should shut up, but I'm going to make sure that you... I'm in charge. Next thing you know, Watergate. We can't unalive two presidents that close together because then it looks kind of goofy, right? We can only just destroy one of them on camera right before Thanksgiving, right? Wasn't it? And then we got to disgrace the other guy. We can't. What do we do? What do we do? That's the case. And you know what they do? They use their underlings. They don't even know that they're underlings to come after you and do their own dirty work. Disparage that man. Destroy him. Call him every name in the book. See what sticks. It didn't work, huh? Shit. You know what? Put a spell on him. Go do curses. Do whatever you got to do. Make something bad happen to this guy so that we don't have to have this problem. That'll fix it. You know what they like to do, folks? You think I'm joking? If you're a problem, how many people get cancer out of the blue? They put it in your car seat. You think I'm joking? You go into a store.
Yeah, isn't it like a lot of like physicists and like really deeply intelligent
Microbiologists?
yeah, like really smart people who know too much. They'll get like the same type of cancer.
Yeah, it's colorectal cancer.
Yeah.
Just saying. And then they die. That is what happens, folks. Question everything. Question everything. This was not conspiracy night. This is every night. This is the reality. This is a real reality. Because I don't know how much time I have, folks. So what am I waiting for? I got to tell you. These people that were messing around and doing whatever they're doing, they did some really bad things. And even if it works, well, you know what? You're still just a pawn from the dark side. You're not the be-all, end-all of jack shit. All you are is a little pissant that did their bidding, and maybe even unwittingly, because that's how stupid you are. Those kind of people only go silent because they're up to something else. You notice when y'all were kids, Anthony, and I had to babysit you little bastards, when y'all were in the room and you got quiet, I'd be out there watching the football game and I'd be like, what are these little turds doing? Because they're not making any noise. That's when you go in there and there's shaving cream on the walls and one of them's spinning around from his underwear. Ceiling fan.
One of them's just missing.
There's a microwave in the toilet and it's on fire. That's when you know something happened, when they got quiet. The dog is hanging out the window, halfway out the window. The cat's hanging on his face. This is what they do. So they got quiet. Everybody's like, oh, it's peace. No. They just switched up their techniques. These people, they play with some really, really bad stuff. But no matter what you play with, you're still just playing. And you're just doing it at the behest of your masters. Even if you don't know that they're your masters, you're doing it for them. Everything you do is for them. And you're furthering their agenda. You hate me and you don't even know why. You started a war with me and you don't even know why. You don't even know why. You just did it because why? You felt compelled. And then the God's honest truth. These people can't really even give you one good reason why. Greed, part of it. Envy, jealousy, part of it. But there's something underlying to that too. Because you're a wicked player. You're born of contempt. You were put on this board to take good people off of it. That's your job. You're an NPC, and you didn't even know it. But I spotted it. Look at the splits. Be free. It's obvious to me. It wasn't at first. I'm not going to lie to you, folks. I won't lie to you. But I see it now. And so we'll see what happens in the coming months. If I'm still around. And if I'm not, don't you cry and don't you mourn. You do what you got to do. And you take care of what you got to take care of. Because you're more important than you could possibly know. Each and every one of you that's listening right now. Because you get it. You understand. These people have a vested interest in keeping you ignorant from ever knowing the truth. I don't. And I'm going to fast forward as much as I can to try to get as much information to you as I can. 4 shows a week? What do you think? Do you think we're doing this for the money? Because we're having a bunch of fun and we're just going to do this for the, we're not taking you for a ride. This information needs to be given to you before something happens. Question everything. Something happens to me, folks. Don't stop questioning. Please, trust me. I had a friend recently reach out to me, and he told me, he's like, the best thing you can do is tell people right now, because that may make them back off, because if something happens to you, then they'll know. So I'm doing what he told me. I agree with that. Time is short. And we need to get everybody together. You need to come together. Wake other people up, and I'm going to give you a little bit of homework, folks. Go and tell other people. They don't have to come and listen to the crazy guy rant and talk about all this uncomfortableness. What you can do is educate them yourself. And if they choose to not hear and not listen, don't be angry, because a lot of people can't grasp, and they haven't been following you like you have. You guys have been in the deep water with me for a long time. You already know. But the new people, you know, they got to get their toes wet. It's real hard. You can't just tell them, hey, come on out here. Jim Bob, fear is the mind killer. Dune. I like this guy. I haven't seen you in my chat before, Jim Bob, but you're pretty funny. Fruition, exactly. Let me tell you something. You're in the know. You're the elite, the real elite. And there's a lot more of us, really, than there are of them. They do what these other guys are doing, what their foot soldiers are doing. Those guys are the foot soldiers. They're not the real deal. The real deal is their masters, whether they know it or not. There are more of us. There's more of us. They use fake numbers, fake everything to blow it up and make it look like they're this huge, powerful tiger. Huffing and puffing, and then you just smack it and it rolls over and it's just a cat. It's a common old house cat, just a nasty, mean old tomcat that needs to have its ass kicked out the door. With these people we faced, I tore the masks right off their faces. Slapped them right back into place where they belonged. They're not gods. They're not even real men. They're just children talking a bunch of big mess. Everybody all scared and they're like, oh, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Ooh. Like, really? Hoodoo and voodoo and you-do and all this other crap. That's what I think of that. But it's very real because the people that they're doing it for, well, they're the ones that want you gone. They're the ones that give them those ideas, that put that into their head, dangle that little bit of pocket change because it's big money to them because they're low rent. They get a comma and they're like, oh my God, I'm rich. Wow. Congratulations, you've conquered the world. Those are the people, folks. That's the people. That's what you're dealing with, but on a much, much larger scale and way more evil. But they do the same thing. And now you've seen it. You know the tactics. Pretend to be good. Call that which is good evil. Call your opponent evil constantly. Call the good guy evil. Rewrite the history. Tell it like you want it to be heard. Don't give them the facts. Give them the fake. Because that's where the money's at, right? The fake. I come along, a guy that didn't ask for anything, wasn't out here begging for money and asking you for help, wasn't over here doing anything. All I ever asked for was prayers. I didn't need their help, and I didn't take it. They wanted to give me money at one point to play ball with them. I don't want your help. Thank you, but no thank you. I don't want to be a part of your networks. I don't want to be a part of your system. They tried to buy me. No, I'm not going to do it. Multiple times. How many times did we get asked to go to a radio station, to go be a part of this organization, nope, I'm not going to do it. They offered us a lot of money. Oh, well, what do we got to do to get that money? They said. I said, you know what? I don't want you to tell me. Well, we're just going to give you some input. Have your input. I don't need it. I don't need your help. I don't need your input. Well, you need to know how things are done, right? Because this is how it's always been done, right? And things are the way they are until they're not. And then they said recently, you're rocking the boat. Why? Why? Simple answer. They don't like unpredictability at all. They hate unpredictability. They hate spiritual awareness. And I told them simple answer. And I offended the living shit out of this guy. And I said, because I don't like you. Well, I don't know you that well, Mr. Turner. I said, I know you. How is that? I said, I judge you by your works. I see what you support. I see what you do. I see where your money goes. I don't think you. I said, I think I do. He said, well, you're making a big mistake. Next thing you know, all these little turds popping off left and right. Oh, that's just a coincidence, right? You just rub people the wrong way. Gang stalking, jumping on people. One guy even told me, he's like, you know what your weakness is? This is what he said. And this guy was a listener of the show until recently when I told him to kiss my ass. He said, your problem was they got you through your friendship. They attacked people that you cared about, and they knew they could draw you into a war by doing that. He said, that's your weakness. If you could cut ties with those friends. And I told him, I said, if somebody's my real friend, I'll walk through hell for them. Would you do it again after all this crap was going on and it was all falling on my head? I said, absolutely. I'd do it again tomorrow. Well, that's going to be your undoing. Then so be it. Because when I stand before God, I'm not the one that's going to be having to worry. And if God decides I'm not worthy, then I'm not worthy. But while I'm here, I'm going to do what I think needs to be done. I'm not the most righteous man in the world, and I do have things to atone for, and I got things to do. Screwing people over is not on my agenda. Lying to people to cover my own ass is something I don't need to do. They do that. They know who they can manipulate and who will play ball with them. They got them. See, we didn't face the big boss. We fought the little ones. The Bowser's not there yet. It's, what is it, Ludwig and
Koopa Kid
and all that. That's who we fought. Those are their little foot soldiers. That's child's play, what they're doing. And this one individual who came to me and said, I want to buy your show. I said, no, you're not going to buy it. You're not going to buy anything. They don't have to be hostile. He goes, if I want to make life uncomfortable for you, Mr. Turner, I will. I said, you know what? Kiss my ass.
If you wanted to make life uncomfortable, you're a little bit too late.
My life's been uncomfortable since the beginning, since its inception, since I first was brought up on this earth screaming from my mother's womb. Sometimes thinking about my past hurts my soul, so I don't. I just ignore it and I move on. Telling me that they will mess me up in ways that I can't comprehend. I can comprehend a whole lot. In ways I can't imagine, I can imagine a lot. Like Han Solo said. More than you can imagine. I can imagine a lot. The pain that I'm supposed to be suffering, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Well, guess what? For me, it all ends when I die. What about you? Can you say the same thing? I look forward to the release. Do you? Anyways, folks, that's it for tonight. Thank you for listening to me. My esteemed colleagues, they have nothing to do with the things I say. It's all me. So do what you got to do. I'm not afraid. I've never been afraid. And you're not going to make me become afraid. They say, oh, you think it's all a big joke? It is. This whole world, this whole life is a big joke. It's the afterlife that's important, folks. This is the proving ground. This is just the preliminaries. It gets a lot worse before it gets better, folks. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Two Shadows. I see Frank Harrington, Brett Salovino. Thank you for all that. Jim Bob. Mickey G. We love you, Mickey. You're such a sweetheart. Joe Breezy, Miguel. If I miss anybody, Dave Howell, JG, everybody there, Brett. I don't even like to say everybody's name because then I miss people and then they're like, you didn't shout out to me. I love you all. John Sablon, Dick Richards, Miguel, everybody. Tito, everybody. Fab Welder, Shade Viking, Amy. I see all of you. Miss Tess. King of Hecomundo. I haven't seen Clever Conquistador lately, but I don't know what happened to him. Thank you, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Bubberino says, I'm a person. Yes, you are, Bubberino. Paranormal Round. Oh, that's got to be Phil. What's up? Guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We're gonna drop it like it's hot on Tuesday. We got some poltergeist stuff we're talking about. Really, really weird stuff. Thursday, We're taking off because it's Turkey Day, Thanksgiving, and we're going to watch football and eat too much because that's the American way, right?
It's a dream.
Right? That's the American dream, to lay there and not be able to move because we're so full, and then go, oh, God, thank you for all that food. I hope those people in Africa are doing okay. You know? I hope everybody else is not suffering because we ate a bunch of turkey. Tryptophan's kicking our ass.
To be thankful for everything on Thursday, and then Friday morning rush to go Black Friday and knock people over for a TV and a 20% off of a
sweater.
toaster, a
Friday
blender.
morning. I wait
Oh,
right
thank
after
you God
Thanksgiving.
for everything. Thursday.
Tony goes the night of.
Night of.
He goes the night of. He leaves post.
Oh,
to go get it.
yeah.
Remember, you went and got a TV.
Yeah.
He had 2 of them. Was it Target?
Nothing. I just Target was right next door to this.
Thank you God for everything I have. And then
Tony goes, I bought 2 of them.
Thursday
Why?
night. Thursday night, like knocking
one
people
breaks.
over
Oh, it's horrible.
for Chinese made crap.
Now, really. Hey. If we were in San Francisco, we'd be cleaned out completely.
Oh, excuse me. Made by a Cambodian 10-year-old.
You know that we're gonna be demonetized on this one, folks.
We're already getting demonetized.
We're done. Thanks for the donations because it makes up for all the money we lost on this one. But it's okay because we're telling the truth. I mean, it's the truth, right? I mean, we're just dropping it like it's hot. We all love you, and we're gonna do another conference. We did decide we're gonna do late September because we didn't want to do October, right? Was that it? What did we decide?
Yeah. Well,
It's going to be late September, right?
Yeah.
Next. Anyway, come to Austin. You'll have a good time. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be amazing, and it's going to be big. We're going to win big again, like always. We did it. We've done it twice. We won the Super Bowl twice. We're going to go back. We're going to do a three-peat, and then that's it. I keep saying that's it, but people keep messing with me, and then they make me go, you know what? I'm just going to do it again because I want to stick a sty in your eye. And so this conference, so I don't want it to be born of contempt or whatever. I want it to be because I want to do it, and I do want to do it. I did enjoy the last 2, but I thought, you know what, this is not this. It's very tiring. So we'll see. We already got too many people that want to be a part of it, and I'm not joking. We have way too many people that want to be on board. So we got to figure out if we're going to be able to do 2 days or not. Okay, unless we do it on a national holiday, we can't do it. 2 days. But this is it. Hopefully we'll do the three-peat, and that's it. I got to start doing other things. I do have a 3rd book coming out. It's a secret. It's a surprise. And then a 4th book. My goal is to release at least 3 books this coming year. The board game, if anybody's interested, let me know. Hit me up, private messenger or email. We do need some sponsors. We need some people that are willing to you can make some money. You can make some money. Actually, we need some people who are wanting to invest or who want to donate, either way, so we can get them made. And then you'll get your money back if you want to invest. I'll make sure that you get paid before everybody else. Or I'll just do it myself. So, it's whatever. Like the little red hen, you make the bread, you eat the bread. But if you want to be a part of it, you can eat the bread too. Thank you to everyone for showing up tonight. And even though the numbers were bouncing around and YouTube was doing all kinds of max headroom and whatever, I apologize for that. I didn't know that they were going to do that to me, but I should have known. I should have, because we were talking about some things that make them kind of go, They don't like it. They don't like it. It's like throwing salt water on a witch. They melt. I can tell you this. I'm going to be here until they destroy me. Okay? We're going to be here. And somebody made a comment about, well, he said he was going to quit and he came back. I said I was taking a break and I didn't know if we were going to come back. We had no plans to come back because I needed to finish the war. And you want to call it a war? Don't call it a war. I don't give a crap what you call it. Call it a conflict. Call it an argument. Call it a hit and run. I don't give a crap. Call whatever you want to call it. I had to deal with stuff. These people leave me alone. I leave them alone. Remember, there's always somebody bigger in charge of all this. Make no mistake. We watch them, right? We watch them together, strong together. Without each other, we're nothing. We don't have anything. We love you, folks. All right? We love you. Hey, there's Elastic Machine. Where you been, Ken? I haven't seen you. Brett, Joyce, Jatash, thank you. Thank you for that. Froetian. Good people. Rita, thank you for that donation. Kate, Thank you for the donation. But, Jitesh, good people, nice people. Made it worthwhile to be out here tonight saying what I had to be said. Joe, still going to come out there and visit you, man, okay? We're going to come out there and visit you. You're not far. All right, facing the crowd. I'm a face in the crowd. We all are. All right, folks, we'll see you. Good night.